be an indie means we buck a system that doesn't want us. To be a fringe filmmaker means we don't do it for them. We do it for ourselves. To be an outlaw on the fringe means we'll die before we fail. Be an outlaw. Joe.
George, we're live.
Fuck you, Joe.
What a freaking lineup tonight, man.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been building that one up all week. I appreciate you, Joe. I love you.
I appreciate you and love you too.
We do have a good show. We have a fucking amazing show tonight.
What is this first one here thing? Is that some big that one's got me kind of lost.
I don't know. You know what I love about the Brigade, man, is that there's like all these things that the community has like among themselves, and
right.
I think it's beautiful. Like I think it's amazing. You know, I mean, when a community has like inside jokes. I mean, you notice
like
the comments, like for the first 20 minutes of the show, everybody just shows up to talk to each other.
Like, where's Taco Bell Boy?
I got something for Lance. Look at that. Look at it. Ready? Watch this. See it?
Wait. Boom.
There
it is. Get your decoder ring out. Only 3 proof of purchases and
there it is. So what's up, Jack? CW, look what I got right here, buddy. Boom, look at that. Killer's Choice Coffee. CW Penny, Dan Yeager, of course, Leatherface, have started Killer's Choice Coffee. They're the official coffee of Romero Pictures Indie Brigade. You are currently listening to the Romero Pictures Indie Brigade podcast with me, your host, George C. Romero, and my ever faithful and present producer extraordinaire, Joe Ridgely. Love the hat, Joe. Your new ones should be there soon. Apparently, there's some stuff going on with the COVID and the vendor and things taking time. Dino, what's he have to say? The Romero Pictures Indie Brigade, a true bright spot in my world in these dark times. What up, George and Joe? And hello to all amazing people here in the chat room. Great lineup tonight and have an awesome show. Thank you, Dino. I love you, brother, and I miss you. And hopefully you're doing well, man. Terry, resident drone Jesus. This guy has forgotten more about drones than most people will probably ever learn. Scott Schiaffo. Man, we got something cool going on there. I'll let you talk about that if we have permission.
Yeah, I think we do.
Scotty, what's going on? Very cool stuff coming with these guys too. The Spacing Effect. Ron Purdy, how you doing, man? Kelly,
I'm having a hard time keeping up with all of them, to be honest with you.
David Lee Madison, never lend a cat money. These are words to live by, especially in these quarantine times of ours, man.
So, Terry, did you decipher that code?
Yes, he did, actually.
Oh, did he? Okay.
It took him about 8 seconds. So
that's awesome.
So when I refer to the Indie Brigade Deep State, that's basically Terry. KillersChoice.com. Go get yourself some Killer's Choice coffee. The stuff is phenomenal. It's amazing, and it is fucking delicious. Our own Sean Smithson, who I'm sure will show up at some point. There he is. What's up, Sean? From Smithson Creations. It's great coffee. He was up till 5 a.m. after which 5 a.m.? You stay up for like 3 days straight.
Right.
Power tools. Much respect. Scott Schiaffo, how you doing, brother? John Thaddeus, one of my oldest, dearest friends on this earth and one of the most talented screenwriters anybody has ever met. I love that guy. We actually very successfully co-wrote an awesome script that I think somebody took and burned or launched into space or something. I don't know. So what else is going on here? Is my wife watching? There she is. Hey, Rebecca Romero, my beautiful and lovely wife. There she is. Happy to see her.
And this is the other Scott that we had the conversation about earlier.
What's up, Scott Meany? How you doing, man?
So, yeah, something cool is going to be coming Wednesday night, folks.
You want to talk about it? Do you want to tell anybody? I mean, are we telling people what's happening Wednesday night, or are we just saying
I'm
Wednesday
not quite. I'll say tune in, where we'll get a graphic going and everything, and then we'll start spreading it around. And Scott Meany and Scott Schiaffo have something cool coming to the Brigade Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Look for it.
Exclusive. Very cool. Very cool. And if it goes well, we're thinking about this potentially launching a whole new thing, which would be pretty great, because that would be another whole new thing we're launching. And one of those things we're going to get to a little bit later on. We're actually going to announce something toward the end of the show. So you have to stick around all night with us. Speaking of sticking around with us all night, you know what happens at the end of the night? The end of the night with David Lee Madison. Yeah, and his guest tonight, Nicholas Brendon. Boom.
Yes. Known for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Practice, a couple other shows, a couple of cool movies too, actually.
That guy's a trip, man. In the pre-show, he was funny as hell.
Oh, he was funny as hell.
Y'all are in for a treat.
Yes.
Look, everybody's just talking to each other. We may as well just like,
right?
Like, hey, Joe, what's going on? You want to knit or something? Everybody talks to each other. So some stuff, right? We should do some housekeeping stuff.
Okay.
Got any housekeeping shit you want to throw up there?
I do.
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
buymeacoffee.com/RP Indie Brigade. We have a lot of great merch on our RomeroPictures.com site, but if that is not your flavor, and you like us, you like what we do, you learned anything from us, you enjoy spending any time with us at all, or even if you just hate us, but enjoy the fact that we're here on a stable schedule for you to regularly hate, go to buymeacoffee.com/RP Indie Brigade and buy me a coffee, because God,
you know what? I made an executive decision also with the buy me a coffee thing.
Fucker.
So what I'm going to do is everyone who buys a coffee, I'm going to put a thank you scroll with everybody's name on the bottom. And I think once every other month, whoever does that, I'm going to put them in a drawing for a shirt or a hat or something.
Hey, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't love incentivizing people to but I think it's a cool idea. I do. I think it's a very cool idea. So let's do it. I just kind of put it out there. Like, if you like what we do, throw us $5, because it helps us keep the servers running, keep the lights on, that kind of thing. But you know what? I think that's a good idea. We should do like giveaways, in the buy me a coffee thing, and I think we can actually even set that up. I think you can set it up so there's like even subscription content and all that stuff. But
see, I love throwing you a curveball every now and then.
I still require that 20 minutes of sleep a day, Joe. I'll tell you, it's been a rough week, man. Hasn't it? It's been scary, guys. Everybody out there, I want you all to know that we had a near catastrophic kind of situation going around here this week, with my computer that houses everything, literally everything, the entire, life of me and the Indie Brigade and all of our tech and everything, had a near catastrophic failure. But due to our deep state, we got that back up and running about 4:00 this morning. So we did not miss a beat.
No, wait a minute. Is it Deep State DJ? He's got too many damn names.
Yeah. Huh. So let's see. Right here on the new scroll, Dealer's Choice, we've got Romero Pictures Indie Brigade t-shirt, hoodie, hat, and mug. New merch has arrived. That's right. We got rid of all the wings stuff now. There's no more wings up there. What is there is some amazing merch, all designed by our own Ian Steyer, who designed the look and feel of the Romero Pictures and the Indie Brigade rebrand that we launched earlier this year. We've got our merch broken down into some cool categories. One of the coolest is a category called Scare Tactical. Anything that you buy from the Scare Tactical line, a portion of those proceeds go directly to the Veterans Compound, which we are getting every day. We're taking strides to get that thing launched and as big as we want to make it. We're getting there. Thanks to Defcon 1. When we threw Defcon 1, you guys remember the very first online fan convention in history that we did? Yeah, that with heavy metal. That was April 28th, predating every other online fan convention. March. Damn, March. Jesus, it was March? Holy shit.
Yeah, man, come on. Don't you remember that the 2 weeks of hell?
If we weren't doing a show right now, I wouldn't even know it was Friday. I'm telling you. Good.
I want to give a shout out to Brian Enright. If it actually wasn't for him, I wouldn't have met you. So,
yeah, that's true. And if it hadn't have been for Joe, we would not be co-branded in conjunction with Heavy Metal Magazine. And if you all didn't tune in last week, a lot of the stuff that's been going on with Heavy Metal Magazine and now Diga Studios wouldn't be happening if it hadn't have been for Joe sending an email. And, you know, there's another person too, Joe, because, you know, after you reached out to me, obviously Rebecca and we talked. But, you know, it was actually Grieco that finally talked me into thinking that it was a good idea to do the Indie Brigade. So nice. He'll be here a little bit later on, too, to talk about some cool shit. And we've got Kyle Perrin, and we've got Michael Rodriguez, and we've got Soojian. I hope I said that right. And we've got the epic and amazing Mr. Robert Kurtzman coming up here pretty soon, too. So we've got an amazing show going on tonight. Get you some merch. Help us keep the lights on. Help us keep the servers running. Mad proud of you both. Thanks, Brian. What else? Is there anything else we need to look at here? Close call. Damon, you have no idea how close a call it was, man. So I should touch on that for anybody out there filmmaking, anybody like y'all don't already know this shit, but back your stuff up. Look, I had everything on 3 external drives, and each of those external drives had been cloned, and it was all just going. It was just failing, all of it at the same time. So thanks to Deep State, we got it all fixed, and now we're setting up an offsite backup. Joe is the common thread that binds. He's also the fucking guy we blame for everything. Sometimes that's a good thing.
Samantha Wagner in the house.
Samantha. Hey, Samantha, check this out.
Oh, wait for it.
Boom.
Somebody needs to decipher it. Keep it going, guys. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. We have to kind of speed things along here. What do you want to hit on next?
Well, why don't we bring up, because we're about ready. We're kind of on a tight schedule tonight. I do want to fit in some talk about our friends at Catch Sitka, but okay. I think maybe we should do that a little bit later on tonight, maybe, because we'll have a little bit more time after because we've got some scheduling stuff going on with some of our folks. Let me just touch on this stuff real quick. Y'all will be happy to see I finally updated this graphic, and as you can tell, we've got another update coming, 2 more updates coming.
Maybe possibly 3 more.
Yeah. So y'all are looking at the Romero Pictures Heavy Metal Indie Brigade Network, which, of course, you're watching the Indie Brigade podcast right now with me, your host, George C. Romero, and my ever-present and faithful producer extraordinaire, Joe Ridgely, who makes me say that. So I practiced it until I got it. But we can blame Joe for that, as you see there at the bottom. But going around from the left around here, we've got the Drone Cav with Mr. Terry Gerald, our resident drone Jesus, and also newly dubbed Deep State. The guy's forgotten more about drones than any of us will ever learn, I promise. And he's giving this shit away for free in the Romero Pictures Indie Brigade Drone Cav. So go check it out. Learn from the man. He teaches you all kinds of stuff, not just about drones, but other cool camera systems and things like that. Ways to really up your production value on a shoestring. Below that, we've got The Devil is Into Detail, which is, of course, our written blog by Mr. Ian Steyer himself, the creator of all of the graphics, with the exception of the heavy metal logo that are in front of you right now. Below Ian, we've got the Nasty Nation. There's some big news coming from the Nasty Nation, actually, with Chuck Nasty. We are basically revamping the entire Nasty Nation. That's going to be going video soon. So that's going to be super cool. Just to the right of the Nasty Nation, you'll notice a box with a question mark. Y'all got to wait on that one. Moving right along, we've got Defcon 1. That was the thing we did back in March 28th, not April 28th. That was a long-ass time ago now. And then to the right of that, we've got another question mark that you will find out about later this evening. Above that, we've got the Wagner Wiles with Samantha Wagner and Lance Wagner. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't watched the Wagner Wiles yet, you need to tune into it. These guys are a beautiful couple, and they've got an amazing energy in their show. is just 100% fun. And then, of course, we've got the end of the night coming up directly after the Indie Brigade tonight at 11 o'clock and every Friday at 11 o'clock right here on the same stream with the host, David Lee Madison. We all know and love him. He's amazing. He's a phenomenal addition to the Brigade, and we love that his show comes on after hours. So that's it. How'd that do? How'd I do? Did I get everything? Is that it? Is there anything?
You just got to read this.
Finally, David, you... Well, buddy, my apologies.
All right. Well, we have your first guest of the evening. Are you ready, sir?
Sure.
All right. Without further ado.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Happy Friday and good evening. It's great to be on the show.
Oh, thanks for joining us, man. Happy Friday to you. Where are you? Were you in LA?
No. I'm in the Central Valley in Fresno, California.
Oh, got it. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. I've been looking forward to talking to you all week. So I'd like to introduce you to the entire Indie Brigade, everybody watching. We've got Michael S. Rodriguez. We have a thing here, sort of an initiation, where instead of me talking about you, I much prefer it when our guests introduce themselves to the Brigade. I feel like it's a little bit more personal. So if you don't mind, just kind of introduce yourself to everybody, tell them who you are, what you do, and we'll go from there, man.
Okay, great. My name is Michael S. Rodriguez. I'm a horror writer, director, and producer. I've been in the business close to a decade. I've done 3 feature films. One was released and is out on DVD and streaming on Amazon Prime. That's called Last American Horror Show. And it is my love letter to Creepshow, which was, directed by none other than George A. Romero.
That's right. I've heard of that guy.
Yeah. And so I grew up watching Night Gallery, Twilight Zone, things like that, episodic television. This was my love letter to all those films, those little anthologies and everything like that. And it took me 3.5 years to make. It was a labor of love. It all came out of my pocket. I mean, I did whatever it took just to make this film. And then I spent another 2.5 years in distribution limbo. So, I grew a lot of gray hairs in the process, but your show is just what it's about. I mean, it's about the struggle. It's about, grassroots and, what it takes. You have to have a strong constitution to hang in there and do this and take as many no's and get as many doors shut in your face and continue to march on. That's basically who I am. I've been, like I said, I've been doing it about 9 years or so, and finally starting to break the ice a little bit.
Yeah? What do you mean? Okay, so I'm just going to kick off with that. You're saying you're finally starting to break the ice. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it took a long time. I mean, the other day when I was talking to another host, and I was saying how, it started off, I was making these short films, and my thing is, I always just wanted to tell a good story, and I wanted to entertain folks. I never really had an aspiration to be like a rock star at this, but I know that it took a while for, like I said, for me to break the ice and to get people in certain areas of entertainment to kind of want to work with me or doors to open. And that took a lot of chipping away. I was basically like selling copies of my short films, basically almost out of the trunk of my car. And it's funny because along the way, that's how I met some of my collaborators. They were at a screening or at a metal concert or something, and they met me, or I was giving away posters or signing something. And before you know it, I just I built this team, which I call MSR Studios. And, we've cranked out some work over the last few years, and it's starting to get noticed. And I'm very proud of stuff that we've done so far.
That's awesome, man. It's, it really is. I had a guy tell me one time, he said, look, at the end of the day, if you want to survive long-term in this business, just make sure you're always present.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it sounds to me like that presence then ultimately turns into its own presence. I mean, obviously, but it turns into a prominence, right? And people start remembering that you're still around and you're not going away. And no matter what anybody says, you're not going to fucking take no anymore. And you're always going to keep at it. What were some of the when you were just kind of trying to get it figured out? A lot of the folks in the brigade are where you were 9 years ago. And what we try to do is we try to spread knowledge, we try to spread love and positivity, and we try to it's the a rising tide lifts all ships type philosophy, right? And I have a good friend to thank for that phrase, even though I've heard it before. It's become prominent in my vocabulary because of a good friend of mine. But that's what the community here in the Indie Brigade is all about. And what I've learned is that there's a lot of people out there who are just kind of trying to figure out those early steps. What are some, and I want to talk about this. I want to get into this with you in a second here, because you've recently just made a huge jump in what you're doing. And I want to get to that. But before we get to that, I want to talk about some of the hurdles that maybe you had to overcome, and maybe what are some of the ways. So what's some good advice you could give to some folks who are just out there making their first few films, trying to figure out what to do and what direction to go? Because especially right after you get that first movie in the can, you got it and you're like, okay, where do I go? And you're looking 360 all around you, and you don't know who to listen to, you don't know who to trust, you don't know, you've heard all these stories, but they can't all be true, and then you find out most of them are.
Well, yeah, and you know what? A lot of it, the thing, especially when it comes to the distribution part, I mean, if you put your blood, sweat, and tears into a film, and we're talking sometimes it takes years, and I've been there more than once. Definitely, I mean, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask out, reach out to veterans. I mean, some will help and some, or, it's one of those, it's a competitive field. So sometimes people keep tight-lipped. But you know what? Say if someone approaches you for something, or, a distributor, definitely, check the facts. Check, talk to people that have done business with them. That way you find out, because like I said, I was in distribution limbo for 2.5 years, and I went through 2 different, distributors that were, that were kind of lying through their teeth, and, and luckily I kind of, I dodged a bullet here and there, and luckily landed this one, and, I've been happy. Right now I'm being distributed through Wild Eye, and, they got it out there on, platforms and on DVD. So I'm happy, and I'm starting to reap the rewards of, lots of hard work. But, in general, don't give up. Don't give in to negativity.
Yeah, it takes a long time, man. It really does. I heard somewhere that every overnight success takes a minimum of 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. I went to there was like this clinic for independent filmmakers, and I was on the guest panel. And, they were talking, and they were like, oh, yeah, well, some people, they make a like the director that did Mama, they did this YouTube video and it got discovered. I said, yeah, but, that took some time. That took some time to kind of hone their skill before they put that video on there. It wasn't like they just hit the lottery.
That's right.
Yeah, it did take some skill, and, and you have to develop that over time. So, yeah, definitely it does take time.
You absolutely do. Usually when Joe comes up, I get generally really annoyed, and I say stuff like, fuck you, Joe.
Well, Sparkle is here, and I know she is limited on time, so I would really like to bring her up if we could.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight. So you guys obviously know each other, and this is perfect timing because I was about to transition into what you guys are working on. So maybe, Michael, do you want to introduce Sparkle to everybody?
Sure. This is Sparkle Soojian. She's an actor. She's an actress. She's a TV personality. She's a great interviewer, and she's the host of my new show on Avail TV, Strange Files.
Which brings us to the point
dun, dun, dun.
of the moment. Tell us, you've made this jump, right? You're a filmmaker. You've got 3 movies under your belt. Now you've made this jump to do this regularly scheduled thing. called Strange Files on Avail TV. We have a channel on Avail TV. And, look, just getting them everything is stressful. There's a whole level of stress that goes with that just for this show. So, I mean, what is that like for you as a filmmaker to make that jump into doing a regular episodic thing? And what has it been like for the two of you to pull this off? Because you guys are doing some really cool shit with this.
To be honest with you, I'm a little scared shitless still. I'm kind of like, it kind of almost happened overnight. And I just thought to myself, I was brainstorming with another filmmaker, and we were talking, we designed some posters that we were thinking, we'll do a couple little short films, kind of like, a little, an episodic thing. And then all of a sudden it caught the eye of Avail TV, the content producers, and they contacted me. And then that's when I said, well, you know what? I've been producing for, last 2 years, other independent, filmmakers that I think that are on the rise. So I'm like, you know what, I'll talk to them and maybe we can tie everything up into a series. And we just started working at it. And I mean, everything has just been falling in place. And, we have our little hitches here and there, and I'm kind of worried about deadlines, but I mean, everything else, it's looking great. I mean, they're so happy. The producers of Avail are just happy with what I've been delivering. So it's an exciting time. It really is, George.
Awesome. Sparkle, how did you get involved?
I've known Michael for a while, and we have a very similar creative and very scary mind. And what I love about this is, and something Michael does, is he likes to give up-and-coming filmmakers a chance. And what's great about this series is that everything is so unique, and it's a different filmmaker every time. So let's say somebody likes the way one filmmaker is, and they'll like that one episode, and then someone likes the way the other one is. You're not going to get bored because you're going to get something different every time. That's for everybody, and everybody's going to get their chance to show their views, because a lot of times, like you said, it's hard to create content for the show and everything. So when you have everybody working together to create something, it's really helpful. So they're giving their best effort. It's not like something's getting mass produced. Everybody's putting their best effort together for this series, and I think that's going to be really impressive.
It sounds like it. So you guys, in terms of workflow for this, you're working with other filmmakers. So other filmmakers are out there doing their thing and then delivering it to you. And so where do you break down the process a little bit? I mean, obviously with as much as you're comfortable talking about, but, break down your process, because, we've all heard stories about how TV is made for terrestrial stations. And we all know about, so the grueling schedule of television. How does this work to deliver an episodic thing like this to a service like Avail? Do you deliver a whole season at once, or are you constantly delivering, or how's the workflow?
The workflow is I'm delivering. I'm going to dole it out. As a matter of fact, I'm directing an episode for season 1. I'm going to be directing at the end of next month. So we're just cranking them out. And, I mean, you can ask my wife. I'm working on this thing night and day. I mean, she's sitting there, she sees me typing away on my phone or my laptop, and she's looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working. It's all about the series. It's about fine-tuning it. And like I said, it's an exciting time, but at the same time, I'm a little scared, but everything's looking great. And I love what Sparkle said about the variety. You're going to get a very flavorful series, because I have all these directors that see things differently and express differently, and they're telling their own kind of stories, as opposed to one writer director, and you're always seeing their style or their way of storytelling. I kind of like that there's quite a bit of variety here. And you may get a subtle thriller, you may get something that's sci-fi and aliens, or you may get something that's tongue-in-cheek horror. So it's always going to be a mixed bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Sparkle, what do you think about? So, what's your involvement with Strange Files? Tell everybody what your involvement is with the project.
I'm the host, so we're going to do a little bit of Elvira meets Rod Sterling, if that even makes sense. And we just want to bring something a little bit funny, a little bit clever, a little bit quirky to some very scary content. But we do, even though it's very scary, like I said, there's something for everybody. So even some older viewers that might be a little bit squeamish, we have some suspenseful scary things. So it's not all blood, guts, and gore. We have a little of everything for every viewer, because I know when it comes to like my mom, you know, she hears horror and she's like, well, we really have something for everybody. So I hope everybody gives it a go and enjoys what we have in store.
Well, I know everybody at the Indie Brigade will. You've got a lot of fans, and we've got some comments popping up. Damon says congratulations. Lance, you guys know Lance Wagner, yeah. Lance, I got a message for you, buddy.
We love you too, Lance.
Lance, look at that. I've been trolling Lance to Jedi levels. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the films? Do you prefer this experience? Do you guys enjoy this kind of high-paced experience over doing a feature? What would you rather be doing? And obviously, you know, there's the answer, you know, because of course the show is over. But what's your preference? Do you like doing films and being in and out and done? Or do you really like this ongoing stuff?
Ladies first, go ahead.
I love hosting. I host a show every Thursday, like this, every Thursday at 4, a live show. And so hosting is very natural for me. But this is really cool because not only do I get to host, I have acted in 2 of the shorts in season 1. So I get to do a little of everything that I love and enjoy so much.
That's cool.
And this, for me, is kind of a breath of fresh air because I've been spending the last close to decade making feature films, and to do something episodic and kind of get to sit in the producer's chair is a little refreshing. It kind of like takes the heat off me for a little while, you know. And you know, I get to make a few phone calls and put things together and stamp my name as a producer on it. That's, you know, I don't mind it.
Okay, so this leads me into a question for you, Michael. Directing to producing, this is a big jump. Did you consider yourself a producer before you became a director, or did you start producing after you directed and maybe had a bad experience or something like that with a producer?
You know what? I started. I juggled all the hats. I was the producer, the writer, the director since day one. And I always told people that, you know what? If I could do either or, that'd be great. If I could hire a great producer that could, you know, that could line produce and do everything for me, and then while I could focus on directing and writing my projects, that would be great. Because I know that it's just producing is a full-time job. It's like a huge babysitting job. And so I'm kind of like either or. So like right now, since I get to sit in the producer's chair, I don't mind it because other people are writing and other people are directing. And, you know, I oversee it and I do give a tip. I'm not very overbearing on set. I'll let their artists become the artist. But, you know, I mean, you know, I definitely make sure it gets done, you know, in its quality. But at the same time, let them express what they want, you know, what they want to showcase. So, like, you know, directing is always going to be my love level. But for doing this show, I mean, it's very nice to sit in the producer's chair.
Hang on one second. Joe's here.
Sparkle, can you turn your speakers down a hair? We're getting some feedback. Okay, I think we're good.
All right, is that what that was?
Well,
That's that.
we're getting feedback, and some people are just pointing it out. One thing I wanted to ask, is this going to be a weekly show, or is it all going to come out at once?
What's going to happen is we're going to do like sort of like Shudder's Creep Show. We're going to like do like a back-to-back 2 episodes. So we're going to release one throughout the summer. So you're going to go. Well, it's going to be basically you're going to get about 2 episodes like every 2 weeks or so, and then we're going to have the full season on our own channel.
Awesome. Awesome. Those guys at Avail are awesome, man. They're so great to deal with. They're such pros.
I had to drop her out for a second. We weren't going to be able to hear anything. Give me 1 second, Sparkle. I do apologize. There is a ton of feedback coming through where you are. Can't blame me for that. I'm not there.
I blame you for everything.
Fair enough.
Exciting times. I mean, Avail TV has been just wonderful to us, and we're definitely going to be wonderful back and produce really good content. Great up and coming filmmakers, and yeah, it's just an exciting time overall.
Well, listen, we're coming up on. I know we're coming up on Sparkle's time when she's got to be done. What I'd like to do is just have you guys kind of tell everybody what's coming up with you guys next, and where they can find you guys. So,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
Coming in to say, is that my end?
We're
on my end?
Yeah, we're just getting feedback, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm going to put your mic on mute for a moment. Yeah, let me put your mic on mute for one moment while Michael, hold on one second.
All right. Well, I can speak for Sparkle. You'll be seeing her on Avail TV starting June 12th. She'll be introducing back-to-back episodes of Strange Files throughout the summer. I do have some film releases coming out. I have a movie called Lake of Shadows, The Legend of Avocado Lake, and that's been a few years in the making as well. It's one of those labors of love, and it's great. It's got Robert Lasardo in it. It's got Melissa Rose, Deborah Lamb, lots of scream queens. That's coming out. We're going to probably do a world premiere in about 2 months or so. I know everything's starting to open up now after the pandemic, but we're definitely looking for a world premiere to that. There's a follow-up to Last American Horror Show. It's called Volume 2. I'll be releasing that probably next year sometime. And as far as anything else, I produced a film called Dead Voices with Lachlan Monroe from White Chicks and Scary Movie. And it's sort of like Blair Witch in a way, a little more fictional, but that's coming out actually on DVD the 16th of June. So, yeah, lots of stuff coming, lots of stuff. I've been working at it. I've been chipping away.
that's awesome. So June's a big month for you then.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, listen, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on tonight. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Oh, likewise here too. It's been an honor to be on this show.
Super nice to meet you. Sparkle, so nice to meet you. And you guys will have to come back again next season and talk some more.
Definitely. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you again so much for coming on.
Okay. Good evening.
It's unfortunate that there was a little bit of feedback. I mean, very interesting and a great transition from movies to a TV show.
Yeah, I would love to have those guys back on and talk a little bit more in depth, or even have Lance and Sam get them on to do a whole show and really do a deep dive with them.
That's an excellent idea.
You know what I mean? So just saying, that was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I wish them the best of luck, and for everybody, just in case the audio was weird, Strange Files premieres June 12th on Avail TV.
Let me pull that poster up one more time.
It's a cool poster.
It is.
Yeah. So check it out.
And everybody knows that when you're live, something's bound to go wrong.
Well, that's part of the charm of it all.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
I believe so. David, how you doing?
What's going on, guys? Hey, what's up, David?
Badass poster. I agree.
Yeah. Let's see. Did we miss any comments? It's just
I'm sure we did.
A bit for another Taco Bell pineapple. See, celery. This is a whole thing in the brigade. People are joking and going crazy over celery.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, George.
Yeah.
Did you like my sandwich?
There are certain types of sandwiches that the term sandwich is appropriate for, but there are certain types of sandwiches that are Sammys or sandwiches. And there's certain types that are sandwiches.
Yeah, it's probably the hour of the day also.
See, Becky hates the word sandwich. She won't say it, and she barely talks to me for the whole rest of the day when I say it. So it bugs the shit out of her. So needless to say, I run around the house yelling sandwich, sandwich, sandwich.
I think Terry just called you a manwich.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Oh, wow.
You think
yes. There you go, right there.
Sandwich.
Let's see.
It's an old debate.
Well, I am reading the private chat, and if you guys say okay, I will bring you up. Or thumbs up. All right, your next guest is here, sir.
Excellent.
Are you ready?
Do it. Bob.
Hey, guys.
How's it going, man?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good. Bob, this is Joe Ridgely. Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Robert Kurtzman.
Meet you, sir.
Man, in the pre-show when Marcy popped up, like I got a little emotional. It was so good to see her. It's so good to see you, man. You guys look so happy, and it's so good to see your face and talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
You as well. It's been too long.
Yeah. How's life in the quarantine?
Just hanging in there, trying to keep creatively busy. If I didn't have a creative outlet, I'd go nuts.
Well, I think that's probably going to be kind of the crux of what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, because that's been a big thing here with the members of the brigade. Keeping each other lifted up through these times. It's
better, I guess.
It's tough. People are inundated with all kinds of shit out there, and there's a whole group of folks just trying to make their art and make their shit and figure out how to stay inspired to keep things going. And so, we'll get into that, I guess. But what have you been up to? I mean, like, what are you up to? What are you working on?
Well, while I've been in quarantine, I put out these things with Kevin Smith, which are some of the items behind us. He's like the Jay and Silent Bob, Iron Bob figures. Yeah. So we just started putting out. So I've been keeping busy producing these right now, and then in between, I'm working on a couple sculptures and just try not to go nuts.
Well, so obviously the quarantine is affecting production and everything, but what do you think it's going to be like what do you think the spin up's going to be like, man, when it starts spinning up again? It's
I'm not sure yet. I heard,
and for your profession, right?
Well, I've heard so many different things. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be crazy in the sense of the workspace is going to change. Hygiene things are going to change, things like that. But for us, it's really not that much different. I mean, other than wearing masks or gloves or whatever. But we kind of have to deal with that anyway. As far as makeup goes, I mean, we're always cleaning our brushes, keeping things sanitary. For the actors, it'll get maybe a little more intense, but I don't know how much that's going to change yet.
Yeah, well,
we're all waiting for the all the different groups to get involved as far as unions and everything, giving their 2 cents to see how we're going to get back to the workplace. But
well, what's it looking like? You're probably the busiest man I know in this whole industry. I mean, literally, you work more than literally anybody I know. I mean, this has had to have been a killer. I mean, do you have a lot of stuff in the pipeline? Like, are people just waiting to go? And is that going to do things?
There's
ability based on the order of how things go? And
well, there's a lot of stuff we were, getting ready to start, and then everything got shut down. Don't know what's going to be first to come up, out of those list of projects. And, I have no clue. It's almost like we don't know which state's going to open first, where the filming is going to move to. So, I'm guessing nothing's going to really happen till toward the end of the summer, but who knows?
Yeah.
Some people are hopeful that by July we'll be back to work. I don't know.
Well, and obviously we're talking about the effects side of your life and career, but there's the filmmaker side of it too. And I mean, I guess you've been talking about you mentioned staying sane through this thing. How are you keeping all of your creative sort of endeavors inspired through this, not just effects, or is the effects work and is the Iron Bob stuff, is that enough to nurture the filmmaker side? Is that enough to nurture all of your creative that you deal with?
No, but I'm developing a couple things with some partners, and we've been working on our, our presentation, packets and our scripts. And I've been storyboarding and shot listing my movies. And so it's just trying to do something, to keep busy, but also to feel like we're moving forward with something and not just sitting, worrying about everything all the time, so, so, yeah. So, I mean, at least I know that, when things do come back, I got that much more prepared, to go out there.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Look, I've been busier than hell, man. I've been developing intellectual. We talk a lot on this show, especially this season. It's been the intellectual property season. We've been talking a lot about taking this time to stay creative, to continue developing your properties, to take a script that might have just been a script when you wrote it and turn it into something bigger, or try to look down the road, or try to look at, everything from the t-shirt line to the television series, right? How does your experience in the world of doing the effects, how does that translate into more longer or bigger sort of IP development when you start working on a concept,
Yeah, I mean, everything for me, everything starts with the film project or the television series idea. And then all the other stuff is like kind of ancillary to that. But, I've never really started. I mean, I've had a few ideas where we start with a comic book and try to build it that way. I've had a few of those that we did, like the Fangoria Comics thing and stuff. But, we're those projects there's some of those projects that we're still working on as film projects.
Yeah.
And, the comic book end of things, the comic world's a whole different thing. That having that IP is not a huge thing, because the comic book world's really tough. It's not a big money making thing.
Right.
But it does generate awareness for your projects. You do get a fan base. It gives you visual content to show to producers and financiers. So that I'm always visual. So there's not a single project I've ever put together that doesn't have a ton of visuals that I bring to the table when I pitch things, or for years and years I was pitching in LA. I was doing that whole thing forever. And it was like I'd put so many projects together with like tons of artwork and build models and do little trailers and everything, and anymore I feel, that's all great and it shows that you have a vision, but it really comes down to the content and the script itself, and the, if that material is enough to get somebody interested in it, the other stuff's just bonus,
Yeah, I always look at the things like, one of the things that we've just announced is that we're taking the Rise. You remember back when we met in Santa Monica, I talked about wanting to do a comic book around the Rise back then, because I wanted to, again, like you said, it's not like you're going to go, retire off of it, but you're going to establish your property, you're going to establish your fan base, you're going to give people something that they want early, and you're going to get your concept and everything really locked down and kind of put into the world in a proper way that can act as a kind of a roadmap for later things too. So it's all very cool, man. And I just love the way you do things. I always have. I think you're a class act at the way you do your shit, man. And I'm really,
well, thank you,
friend.
I just try to move through the process, ups and downs. This industry's full of ups and downs, highs and lows. And, even for very successful people, have very successful, film properties under their belt, it just takes one thing to where they're down and they have to build it back up again. So I'm kind of used to that. And I think just being creative is like, if I didn't have a creative outlet, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine myself working in, nothing against it, but I can't imagine myself working in a 9-to-5 job or on an assembly line. Anything I do has to be creative, and whatever outlet it is, I mean, I'll go out, and if I can't do what I'm doing, I'm going to sculpt with metal and weld it together and sell art pieces. I just can't,
right.
sit around at a desk and go home and feel miserable all the time. So,
well, and that's kind of what we talk about a lot here too, is just keep creating, just make something, you know. I don't care if it's cooking. I don't care if it's, you know, I'm a woodworker too. I got a wood shop. I go out there and I make stuff, and we got a leather shop. We make stuff out of leather, and it gives me time to spend with the boy and, you know, and teach him things. And, you know, you're right. I'm the same way. If I'm not creating or making something, insanity is a very short trip from that, you know. So I got
you sit around and you wallow, you know, you sit around and you think about all the negatives, and what you have to do is create something positive that, I don't know, doesn't go anywhere, but somebody can see it. There's, you know, artwork to put out there, artwork to sell, script to sell, you know, anything. It's just to sit around and worry about everything is not productive.
No, it's not. It's quite damaging. So here's a topic for you. I got a question. So a lot of our, obviously, people in the brigade are young filmmakers, new filmmakers. And a lot of them obviously gravitate toward the horror genre, right? So coming from you, when it comes time to work with your effects team as a filmmaker, as a director, right? What are some of the best things best pieces of advice that you can give some of these new kids out there when it comes to working with their effects team? You know, I know for me, one of the things you and I talked about, and one of the things I'm excited about, is that, you know, when it comes to certain aspects of things with the effects, you know, even though you're directing a film, you know, and you get to work with somebody like Bob, then, you know, you want Bob directing what Bob does, right? Like, you want Bob directing the effects. You want Bob as involved as possible in every aspect of everything that he touches on your film. But how would you train a new filmmaker to work with you?
Well,
the effects.
Well, I think overall, the best experiences, you know, that I've had with filmmakers, other directors that I've worked with, is complete collaboration. It's filmmakers who, they have you there for a reason. They have you there for your expertise. They're willing to listen and explore ideas. And also, as an effects guy, you can throw out ideas, and if the filmmaker doesn't like them, you can't, you know, internalize that. You literally just have to go, okay, didn't get that idea, move on to the next one. Or that's not jiving with his vision, you know, let's move on to something else, and be able to roll with the punches. Basically, you got to be able to roll with the punches on a film set. I think that's, you know, over the years, that's one thing I learned in doing effects that helped me as a director. So, because I would learn how to think on your feet. Everything changes on a movie set every minute. One thing can happen that changes your schedule for a whole day. And if you're so focused on what you think that schedule is going to be that day, and you don't, you know, you can't just switch gears and roll with it, it's an issue. And, you know, I've been on set with other effects people, and even myself maybe at points, but where I just, you know, you just get so frustrated and fed up. The schedules change. They don't give you the time you need, whatever it is. But over the years, I've learned how to just kind of roll with that. And then, you know, if something negative's happening, how to turn that positive. So if you start to realize, oh, we're not going to be able to shoot that the way we intended, but you could come up with an idea, and you may come up with it with other people, you know, the other filmmakers and the other departments, but you can come up with, and that back and forth is what's great, because one guy can give me an idea, the props guy can say something, and it triggers something, and then suddenly the director says, yeah, what about this? And then boom, boom, boom. Now you got this whole new idea, and you do it in the amount of time you have, and you're able to shoot something visual and put it out there. And, you know, if you're not able to roll, especially in this business, if you can't roll with the punches and, work as a team and collaborate with everyone on the crew, you're you might as well just get out of the business.
Well, that's exactly right. And we preach that here on the Brigade a lot. Marcy actually put up a pretty great comment, and she's dead on. It's important to let an FX artist like Robert direct when he creates. It's honestly the best for the quality of the production. He's not only FX, but a director as well. He sees the whole picture. And that's exactly what I was trying to say. She just said it better because, well,
sometimes, and it's not necessarily just to direct it, but it's to assist the director in pulling off the effect properly. I mean, if it's built a certain way and it needs featured in a certain way, and the director is willing to listen to that, and a lot of times you figure that ahead of time. You know what the director's planning. You see the boards, you see the shot list, you see his overheads, and so you're able to figure out, okay, this is what we're going to cover on this gag. But if there's during that process, especially in pre-production, you can suggest things or go, what if we try this? It's something more interesting, or something hasn't been done before, or trying to put a spin on something. And then, I'm not looking to actually direct for that director on set. I've done second unit for directors and walked away and basically just taken their boards and shot it. But you're really there to assist and put your expertise into helping the director create his vision.
Well, yeah, and I think the term directed when it comes to the effects and everything, the way I kind of envision it is, if I have it in my mind how I'm going to shoot something, you're going to know before we ever show up what's in my mind on how I want to shoot an effect, and then if something happens on the day and you come up to me and say, look, I know you want to shoot this from here with this lens, but based on X, Y, and Z, that option is out the fucking window, and here's what I think you need to do. Then it's my job as a director to then trust you and know that you know what you're talking about better than I do when it comes to that, and say, okay, well, let's figure this out together. And that's kind of how I see that relationship working. And that's how it's worked for me in the past. And that's what I'm very much looking forward to with The Rise when we get this thing kicking a little bit more, man. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's gonna melt brains. It's been a long fucking time coming, this thing, man. But it's finally we're finalizing all the paperwork, and we're gonna kick it off through the comic world and then advance it through all the stages. And we should be probably spinning up right around the time everything else is spinning up with regard to the industry. So we just I just did a partnership with Heavy Metal Magazine and Diga Studios for Rise. So we're very excited about that. And I just gave you the live update. It's good shit, man. So,
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Listen, what else do you have going on? Where do you want? Where can people find the Iron Bobs? What's the deal with those? Like, where do you want people to go and find and follow and worship you like I do?
Well, they can go to my website, which is robertkurtzmanmufx.com. The Jay and Silent Bob stuff is on there, but they can also go to, what is it? Rebootcollectibles.com, which links to this website. So, and you can check out all the other stuff on there too, because I have a lot of galleries of my effects work over the years and videos and stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, listen, normally we go through and do introductions and stuff, but you are a man who does not need one. So I just wanted to dive in with you, man. It is so wonderful to see you again, brother. I miss you terribly. I miss Marcy.
Yeah, she says she's gonna cry.
Yeah, I know.
She's over here like,
it's crazy. So,
well, we'll have to hook up very soon. As soon as this nonsense is over.
Yeah, I would like that.
Figure out some time.
We've got some big stuff coming up here that I also have to talk to you guys about. So, I'm actually, if you guys have paid attention to any of the Brigade over time, you'll notice that I roll out announcements, but I tease these announcements for a long time because it's more fun that way. And with everything that's been happening lately, it's been big news after big news after big news, and I've got even the biggest of all the news coming soon. We're just a couple of weeks away, so from announcing that publicly. So I need to get up with you probably before that and fill you in on some other shit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell him, hey. No. Oh, he's on here.
Yeah.
Richard's on here. Okay. Hey, Richard.
Huh? Where? Who? Grieco. Grieco.
Hey guys,
What up, man?
how's it going, brother?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, dude.
You
Doing
and Bob
good.
go way back too.
Way
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
There he is.
So Grieco has some big news coming up here with the Brigade too. We've got some cool shit going and working, but look, I wanted to. This is pretty cool right here. I'm super happy
That's cool.
it popped up right now. You guys, Bob, you said that you guys were talking not long ago, and so I told Richard what you said about getting back in touch, and now here we are. Boom.
I know.
So, you guys, how long have you guys known each other?
19. When do we?
95 or 90? No, 80. No, 95, 96.
Yeah, the
That's when we
demolitions.
worked together. Yeah.
Awesome.
So long time ago. Movie. My first directing gig, Demolitionist. So
Yep.
we had a good time.
Awesome.
We had a great time.
Yeah. And you guys have stayed in touch, and you guys are have been cool all these years. That's another beautiful thing that I would love the Indie Brigade to notice is that, this is what happens. You start these relationships and they last forever. And, we might not talk for a long time, but we always come back, everybody always comes back around, and we all, just don't go running around out there being an asshole, and people will stay your friends.
Is that how that works?
Pretty much.
Well, you don't have any friends.
What's up, Richard? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good. Staying busy as I can. So I don't go nuts. I'm talking to George a lot, and got a lot of cool things coming up, and can't wait to work with you again, brother.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Are you you guys well, everybody's in lockdown, but how's it going out there?
It's going it's going fine. I know everything's locked down. They say they're opening up things, but I'm not going to go to a restaurant and have my temperature checked and someone bring me to a table with gloves with a mask on. They say you have to wear a mask to go into a restaurant, right? But while you're eating, you take off the mask.
Right. Pull it down, take a bite, pull it up.
I guess you put it back up again. I guess. I don't know. No. But it's going fine. It's going okay.
I don't know how it's all going to work. I'm stuck in quarantine. I'm isolated, and I'm just making shit. That's all I'm doing. And Bob, we've got some stuff coming up, and Grieco and I, we've got some stuff we've been working on, some very cool shit that I think you're going to be excited about. But everything's just been, it's been fucking crazy. For some reason, I've been busy. Well, we've been busier through this quarantine than most people, than I was for 6 months leading up to it. It's been nuts. And
I good thing.
A little bit, huh? It is a really good thing. Yeah. I think it requires a pivot. I just had to pivot, and when this all happened and there was nothing to do, you just had to pivot and figure it out. And that's, I think, what we did. So, but listen, Bob, I know that we're on a schedule here, and I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight, man. You have done my heart so much good. And it's an honor to have you on here, brother.
Anytime. It's
Awesome.
Good seeing you guys. Nice meeting you, Richard. Nice seeing you again. Let's talk.
I'll give you a call next week.
All right.
I'll give you a call next week. Touch base.
All right. Cool deal. You guys have a great night.
You too, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Kurtzman.
All right.
Grieco. What's up, brother?
Cool. Hey, brother.
Man, what was I had 45 and 11 earlier today on that one round.
Oh, you were insane on that round today. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Explain to everybody out there if they don't know what you're referring to.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
It's the new Modern Warfare, Call of Duty. And we now have, thanks to Sean Smithson, who got it fired up, we've got the Romero Pictures Indie Brigade Regiment which if you need to join that somehow on Xbox, I don't know anything about it, but if you need to join it, reach out to Sean Smith and he'll get you involved and come play some Call of Duty with me and Grieco. And we're going to start doing like Indie Brigade meetups and stuff during Call of Duty. So Richard and I have spent a lot of time this quarantine playing some Call of Duty. It's been
I don't know. Sean is saying block Lance.
Block Lance.
You see that, Lance? Look at that.
From Call of Duty, that is.
From Call of Duty?
Yes.
Report him?
Look at this. Look at this, Lance. Look at that, Lance.
Wait a second. Lance, can you see it?
Look at that. Look at that. You see that, Lance?
Oh, it's funny.
Man. So do you just want to kind of just drop something on these folks right now, Grieco?
Do you want
we
to
just-
preface it?
We can just drop the title and the logo. See what happens?
Yeah. We've been in talks, and I think we're going forward with it. Me and George and Joe knows about it. Joe, you know about it.
I damn well better.
Joe knows everything. Lance is the only one that doesn't know shit.
Lance doesn't know, though, right?
No.
Oh, good. Okay. We're going to be doing a podcast called, what was I thinking? Fragments from a Dirty Ashtray.
Boom. Mr.
Boom.
Richard Grieco is joining the Indie Brigade Network with his own show, What Was I Thinking? Fragments from a Dirty Ashtray. So,
Art by Ian Stein.
Yep, art by Ian Steyer.
Rockstar.
Yeah, amazing artist. So here we go. So we're super excited about this. We do not have a start date yet. We are working it out, but as you can see, there's maximum effort being put into getting this thing off the ground. I think that everybody out there is going to be super excited to tune in and spend some time with Grieco. It's going to be an amazing show, and it's going to be a lot of fucking fun.
So is that audio and video?
Yeah, it's going to be a video podcast. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So look out for that. Look out for announcements about that and for the time and the schedule and everything. People freaking out right now. It's going to be fun.
It'll be fun.
Sean Smithson, he needs to burn that logo. This guy's addicted to burning shit on wood with a laser. Like,
All right. I saw some of his, he rocks, man.
yeah, he's badass. He's a phenomenally talented woodworker too. So great. Now Lance knows. Yeah, Lance knows now.
Scotty.
Samantha says that Richard, she's still waiting. I'm not sure for what.
I don't know.
Ed, what's up, Big Ed? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Happy you're here tonight. Scotty, people excited about Fragments. Dude, I'm so stoked for it. I cannot.
Yeah,
wait.
I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a good, a really cool, interesting show about a lot of different subjects and content, and also basically kind of like free flowing, like what you do, brother. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're still working it out.
Yeah, but I mean, you have like this tremendous perspective on the success that you've had over your life and your career that, you know, I mean, you have a perspective that maybe less than 100 people in the history of this industry ever get to have. You know, like that's what makes it fascinating for me to talk to you as your friend and brother. But I think that that's what's going to make people just flip out about what you're going to do here.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to give them a perspective of going from basically unknown to 6 months later being known everywhere and doing studio films, and then kind of going against the grain of it all and going in the indie route. And plus there's so many stories in between those variables of from New York to LA to the different projects and stuff, and so many different kind of conundrums and interesting factoids and and facets of my career that are really, I mean, interestingly kind of, I guess it was thought provoked at the time. Sometimes I look back at things going, well, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But all in all, it was done for a reason, I think.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. It's kind of like we were talking on the phone the other day, and I think you said the phrase like surviving success, like it's, it really is that, I mean, what you experienced and how you experienced it, and, the tales that you have to tell. I think it's going to be probably some of the most riveting content. It's definitely going to be some of the most riveting.
Yeah, you can really lose yourself in all that stuff, because it comes to a point where you're doing movie after movie, talk show after talk show, and you kind of lose who you were when you first came in it, even though I pretty much stayed the same, which is kind of like ruffled feathers, I guess, in Hollywood a little bit. But when you have everybody doing everything for you, you got to take a step back and kind of go, okay, what the hell am I doing? And where is this going? And why did I get into this to begin with? I didn't get into acting or any of this stuff to make money in the beginning. I just got into it because I had to,
Yeah, but that's why we all do what we do. I mean, and like ruffling feathers, today is a little different. I mean, like ruffling feathers in this business is outlaw style, man. That's indie shit, and it's like, like a lot of the industry is not, back when I was kind of ruffling some feathers, it was not accepted very well. Which I even understood at the time. Like I realized, part of me realized that I was pissing some people off probably. And I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I really did not give a flying fuck. I mean, I really did not. And basically, I was just sticking up for principles, not just my own principles, but other people's principles that couldn't stick up for themselves.
Yeah.
Because I had the power to interject and go and speak for them if something happened on a set or they had a problem and they got mistreated or this and that. So I would go and there's been, a couple things where I've shut a movie down for a couple days because of what they did. But those people now will come back and they'll be really cool because what I did was not out of my own thing. It was protecting somebody else, and I think as they grew older, they realized that now, and now they kind of respect it. They respect everything I did back and in later years. I think all the people I did that with, it came from a place of knowledge. It didn't come from a place of malice,
right? Or ego, or any of that stuff. I mean,
or ego, or nothing.
Yeah. I get it. People are still flipping out. Lance is having a fucking heart attack right now. Jack says Booker 2020. Jack, we're all on that train.
We are all on that train, brother. We're big time.
Yeah, buddy. We all want that. Sean Smithson's so freaking excited for this. Lance just died. So
listen, my managers Stacy and Chris are watching today. I want to say hi to them. They've been big help to me.
Awesome. Well, hello. Happy to have you guys here. Grieco, I tell everybody, Joe Ridgely reached out to me about doing a podcast when this whole thing started. And I said, let me think about it. And I talked to my wife about it. And she said, you should do it. And I said, well, that's because you love me. And then you and I were talking and you talked me into it too. And so there you go. That's
we kind of talked about it. I'm saying, well, I think it's a cool idea. And with Becky and Joe, I think me, because you just got so much to say. It was such a good idea. And then the name came up and then it was just like, well, it's a no fucking brainer now, And I mean, look, we talked about it, and it's just opened up so many things, and I think what you've done for other people in the indie world is help them out in so many ways, just and bringing people on and giving them perspectives that they wouldn't normally get. You know what I mean? And I think it's an important conduit that you're doing here. You know, to get them give them knowledge of things that they normally wouldn't get. You know, or they'd be lied to a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you, brother. That means a lot to me. And just so everybody knows, if it wasn't for Joe, my wife, and Richard Grieco, the Indie Brigade would not exist. So,
well, it wouldn't exist because of you. We're like, do it. You know?
And here we are. And now we've got, what was I thinking? Fragments from a Dirty Ashtray coming with Richard Grieco to the Indie Brigade. How fucking cool is that?
I love that.
We're gonna have to change that cigarette to a vape thing.
I know, right?
Listen, we got somebody else that we're about to bring up here. Joe, do you have Kyle?
I do. And I just wanted to say that I'm really impressed how Ian got Grieco's bone structure down so well.
Right?
It's amazing. Got the jawline.
Exactly. That is freaking awesome. All right, I'm going to bring up Kyle now.
Yeah. Kyle, what's up?
I made it. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Me too, of course.
For everybody who doesn't remember, Kyle was supposed to join us a couple weeks back, but we ended up in a session that wouldn't let him out, and that's what happens when you're a fucking professional like Kyle. So I think that day turns you into kind of the James Dean of the Brigade, man. Like, I got this session, man. It's fucking, I can't get out of it. It's fucking important. And I was like, it's all whatever, man.
But you know what? That also means I'm going to die before the rest of you guys, and that's not all right.
Well, yeah. You got to go straight morbid with it. That's a little. How you been, man?
Good. Just been working, trying to be productive. It's weird. The world seems like it's crumbling piece by piece every day. So
I know. Well, and this is actually what I'm hoping is going to, because of what a lot of people don't know and what I can't talk about at this particular point in time, is there's a reason that these two gentlemen are on the screen together here on the Indie Brigade as well. In addition to the fact that Kyle is somebody that you all need to stop what you're doing, get out your notebook and listen to this motherfucker talk. There's a reason that these guys are on here together, because like you just said, everything's weird. The world's falling apart a little bit more each day, and we're trying to create. And a lot of us are trying to create on a shoestring, and a lot of us are trying to create in the face of a world that seems to be trying to prevent that. You know, and when I say that, what I mean by that, just to clarify, is that it feels like creativity, the creative spirit, the artistic endeavor, it feels as though it's not on anybody's radar to nurture, which is why it's important to keep it on my radar and to keep it on the radar of the Indie Brigade, because somebody's got to carry the torch, right? Somebody's got to keep that bat at the charge of the Indie Brigade, right? You always got to be creating. So what for you, Kyle, has been the hardest part about creating through these fucking weird times, man?
You know, I think you sorry, hang on one second. You mentioned it earlier, and it's been weird because ever since this hit, I've been busier, and that's not what I was expecting at all. I mean, like, I 1000% identify with you with, like, yeah, the 6 months leading up, I'm trying to, like, you know, put together some more work and fill out my schedule and things like that. And then all of a sudden, you know, a quarantine hits, pandemic hits, and everyone has to just immediately shut down and figure out what's going on. And then a flood of projects came in and was like, all right, we have all this content now. We need you to work on it. Like, where the fuck were you guys 6 months ago? You know? But no, it's been, you know, to give like as simple an answer I can, to me, it's just been about trying to find the right balance between spending time with my family, being productive, making progress on things that need to get done, and having somewhat of a life, so I'm I'm just trying. It's a juggling act right now, but it's cool. I haven't made music in a while, and I've been able to do that a little bit more recently, which has been fun. It's exciting to get back to my roots of working creatively in music, because for a long time now I've been working more as an audio engineer and sound designer and composer, which composing is music, but it's like I was a live musician and I was a touring musician, so it's always fun to be able to get back to that. But I just, I think that the key word would just be balance, and it's for better or worse. That's what I try to do every day, is just have some kind of a balance.
Me too, man. Me too. Okay. One last question, and then I want to kick the conversation over to the two of you. Fuck, I forgot the question. I'm just kidding. No, I really did. God damn it. Fuck me. This is why I should write shit. Fuck you, Joe. So you said I actually didn't forget the question. So you've been busier. You've had a flood of projects come in during the quarantine. What are and I'm hoping that the answer to this question is going to give a little bit of insight into sort of the topic of our quarantine topic, season 3 topic of intellectual property development, right? What kind of projects are coming across your desk that are unique? In other words, what kind of things are shoestring filmmakers or shoestring artists? What are they working on right now that's catching your attention, that's coming across your desk, that seems like an out of the box type project that people are creating more now that we're in lockdown?
I've seen a big spike in the creative podcasts. Ones that are not necessarily like yours, ones that are more on the end of something that's scripted. It's a narrative, there's sound design and score and things like that, and it's just immersive storytelling. I've seen that shoot way up, and that has gained a lot of traction in recent years, and that's become a more and more popular medium. But recently I just feel like I've seen a lot of stuff like that pop up, and I think it's really cool. On the other hand, you mentioned a shoestring budget. It's tough because the barrier of entry, as we gain access to more technology, the barrier of entry becomes lower and lower because more and more people could do it now. And what that inherently does is lower the standard and lower the bar. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because you would like for everything to be put out to be good. But that doesn't mean that just because you have a low budget that you're now going to make something that's bad. And a lot of the projects that I've been working on are people that have hyper specific visions. And one of the things that I've seen them do to be successful while having a low budget is to trust experienced people to deliver with that budget. So a friend of mine is working on a movie right now, and he just called me in to do all the mixing for all of the dialogue. It's just a project about some people. It's like a 90-minute feature about people who take a road trip, and it's just mainly dialogue. So there's nothing necessarily difficult about it, but it's 90 minutes of content, Right. So he's working on a small budget, and he approached me and was like, "Hey man, this is like my all-in budget for everything. And this is the piece of the pie that I have for video and sound editing and mixing, like, what do you think? Is this something that you could even work within, And by the first, I completely agree. We're on a low budget can force creativity, which I will circle to that point here in just 1 second about a conversation I was having yesterday. But he asked me if I could work within that budget. And then before I answered, I followed up with asking, what is your timeline? And what are your expectations for getting this project done? Because depending on how he answers those two questions, very dramatically influence how I'm going to answer his. And right. He said, you know what? I know that you have a lot on your plate right now, and I know the budget's not big, but I want to do a really good job. And so I'm willing to kind of work within the guidelines of when you can get things back to me. And immediately that made me willing to now come apart and be like, yes, I will work for this budget. because A, I like the project and I believe in what you're doing, and B, you've trusted me and you've given me some freedom, and you understand that what you're going to get from me is going to be good,
Right.
So that's one thing that I think that on both sides there has to be a mutual understanding of expectations, because you can have a low budget and you can make really great art on a low budget, but you can only do that if everyone is operating from the same place and has the same expectation about the outcome.
Right. And if everybody has the same almost creative skin in the game by empowering everybody to actually put their fingerprints on it. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of that, now there's a project that we're not going to talk about the details of, but there is a project that the two of you gentlemen are working on together. And I've been fortunate enough to be a fly on the wall for some of this creative process. But it's so unbelievably cool for me to watch the two of you guys go back and forth and work together on the process. And I know that there's some scheduled stuff coming up. But what has it been like from the standpoint of the quarantine for the two of you guys to work together without being able to get together, without being able to kind of feel that energy in the room that happens a lot with the type of project that you guys are actually working on together? Maybe Richard, from your point of view, what's it been like to not have that energy in the room? And then Kyle, same question.
Well, I think talking to Kyle and going over what we were talking about and getting his input, and you were on the call too, the conference call, and hearing what he had to say and knowing what he's done already with other stuff, he just got it right away. It seemed like he got it, and the stuff that trying to word it where it's not, I'm not saying it, but Kyle, you know what I'm saying. I think you hit it right out of the ballpark with what you sent the other day. I mean, I think that's where, I mean, really, I got chills, and I just saw it and I visualized it, and I think what we're trying to say is really important today and really relevant what's going on, not just of the COVID thing, but just of everything going on today. And I think it's going to be I think it's something really special. So I'm just really excited to be working with you, brother.
I'm sorry, Matt Medney, the CEO of Heavy Metal, popped up a comment right. I read Kyle loves lamp.
Matt's the type of person that likes people to think that he's always working. You just outed yourself. Now I know you're not doing shit. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, Kyle, what's it like? And it's interesting because the thing that we can't talk about, the part of what we can't talk about, is actually going to involve some other folks of the Brigade. Once you guys get it to that place, so it's actually about to be super exciting for the whole Indie Brigade. But what's it like to work with an artist like Grieco, who you guys don't have the energy in the room. You only have there's no smell, there's no nothing. It's just all digital, and yet the communication that I witnessed between you guys was it was really cool to watch the way you guys describe things and the way that you're landing on concepts and what you're looking to kind of really blow out with this mystery project. What's it like for you to work on a project like this from your perspective?
I mean, to just piggyback on what Richard said, he hit the nail on the head. And I think that, the fact that I was on the same page creatively and I got what he wanted to accomplish kind of right off the bat. I think that was just a cosmic, intervention of just allowing that to happen. It's not, I didn't force myself to agree with the vision and to pick up on what he was doing. It just naturally happened. And so we were very fortunate to already be on the same page, and that helped a lot. And that moved the ball forward almost all the way down the field,
Yeah.
So I think that that's really important. If you're talking about, working on a project remotely, regardless of what the project is, being on the same page and having people that identify with your creative goals is most of the battle. I can't tell you how many arguments and fights I've gotten in over creative decisions about something that shouldn't be difficult, but it turns into a very time-consuming back and forth because people aren't on the same page about what they want. And a lot of that problem can be solved early on if you just align yourself with people that are more in tune with what you want to accomplish creatively, And again, I don't think that there's much you can do to influence that, other than how you network and how you relate to others and who you surround yourself with. But, there was no guarantee that like we were going to see eye to eye on where to take the project. And there's still no guarantee that that's going to be the case all the way throughout, but the most important thing is that I think that we both have the same goal in mind. So if we need to make compromises on either end back and forth one way or the other, as long as we are all feeling like we're still working towards the same goal, then I don't think that there's going to be anything that's holding it back. And I don't think that there's going to be any tension or frustration because there's this collective goal. And I think that that's really important, that no matter what you're working on, you just have to have that. And the remote aspect of it is just, thank God we live in a time with so much technology,
Yeah.
As much as I would like to think I would enjoy getting a courier pigeon of your notes on how to fix something, that would probably take a long fucking time to communicate that way. So thank God we have technology and we can take advantage of it, So it is nice being in the room with someone. Matt comes over from time to time to work on things with me. And he and I don't sit down in the room a lot together anymore, but when something really, really needs that attention, he'll call me and be like, "Hey man, can I come over to the studio for 3 hours, next week?" And because he and I both know that sometimes it's just important and you have to sit down. You have to sit down with people in the room,
Yeah.
So, but thankfully we have technology. You can get around that if you need to,
Yeah. Here we're at. Matt says, "Amen, brother." Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys both preach it, Trust Kyle, hashtag trust Kyle's ear.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, we're coming up on toward the end of things here, but guys, brothers, thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking to everybody. We're going to wrap things up here, and we're doing it. We're coming up on the end of season 3. We'll be kicking off season 4 with some very cool shit, including this mystery project that is actually going to there's a bunch of folks, including Scotty, who's going to be hearing from us pretty soon as we get things to a certain point. So stay tuned, stay with us, and we've had some amazing folks on tonight, and this is
and I'll be calling you tomorrow, Cal.
Huh?
Sounds
I'll
good.
be calling Cal tomorrow.
Yeah. You guys got to work that out. That's my whole job in this. I'm the calendar
That's
wrangler.
your job.
Yep.
I'm the appointment wrangler. So, okay, guys, thank you so much, Kyle, for coming on tonight. Grieco, your brother.
Good to see you, Kyle.
All right.
We'll see you guys soon.
Brother.
See you, man.
See you guys. I have not been on screen with so many legends and ever.
Right? We packed a lot.
Oh man.
Good night, huh, Joe?
Yeah. Just remember, I'm fat. I can have a heart attack from all this. So slow it down a little.
Look, Lance already had the heart attack for the night.
Are we going to go on hiatus? Well, usually after the season finale, we take a week off or so.
Yeah. So we usually take a little bit of time to do some things. Kelly, thank you.
Group. There's Scotty.
Scotty, there he is. Scotty, there's a little glimpse.
Oh.
Lance, do you still need a decoder ring? I don't know, Lance.
Well, you got to make sure that it's the right one, Lance. There's like 15 of them.
Yeah, but are you ready? Are you ready, Joe?
I am ready. Hold up. There it is.
Boom.
So, Lance, those numbers have been coming across social media for the past 2 days now? 2 days, 3 days.
2 days, I think. Yeah, 2 days. Yeah.
What's he saying?
I'm gonna start giving Lance secret messages that way. Thank you, Sean. You're amazing. I love that you're fucking here, man.
He absolutely is, and I'm looking forward to Grieco's you burning his new logo. That's
going to be super cool. So let's bring that logo up again really quick, because how fucking cool is this shit right here? Legendary. # legend.
Right.
Fragments from a dirty ashtray. You know, that's actually a title of a book of poetry that Grieco wrote. Fragments from a dirty ashtray.
I did not know that, but it seems that it's right on the money.
Yeah. Yep. It's
for lack of better words.
You know, he's such an amazing guy. He's such a good friend. He's a very stand-up dude, and I'm just so happy he's joining us here. And so now you guys know what one of those gray squares with the question mark is. Look at that.
One of those right there. Hold on.
Yeah, we got one of these filled in. One of these filled in.
That's good stuff.
What's the other one, Joe? Oh, wait, we can't say it yet.
Well, I can. I'm not under contract. Or am I? Damn
it. You are.
We got David Madison in the green room, and he's got a good show tonight. A great show tonight.
Oh man, he's got an amazing show tonight. Why don't we bring him up here if he's dressed?
I'm dressed.
We're not going to talk about the waist down.
No, I never have pants on. What an unbelievably great show, Mr. Romero. You know, you make my job incredibly difficult every week, because it's literally like trying to follow up Fonzie. You just can't do it.
David, I love you so much. I think you have such a great show tonight. You've got a phenomenal guest on tonight, and thank you for your kind words as always. You know, I get a little nervous. I just want to make sure I tee you up good enough. You know, I want to give you a nice launch pad for your show. I don't want you to have to, like, you know, pull me out of the quicksand.
Well, listen, with tonight's episode of the End of the Night, it was literally voted the episode most likely to get you arrested. So make sure you watch it tonight.
And from pre-show, I can understand.
Yes. My guest tonight is from one of the most iconic television shows of all time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he was from Criminal Minds and Private Practice and great films. Mr. Nicholas Brendon will be joining us tonight at 11 o'clock. And hello, Mrs. Romero.
Hell of an actor.
Yeah,
and
you know,
I sure do love to my wife, man. She's amazing. I just had to say that. Sorry.
Okay.
We also have Ian Steyer joining us. You know, Ian doesn't ever really get to tune in that much because he lives in a tree, I think, where with no internet, and he you know.
No, he rectified that.
He's a woodsman. He woodsmans by day, lumberjack.
We need to have him on sometime, even just for a few minutes.
I know. This guy has done all the look and feel of all the new rebranding and the logos and everything. Phenomenally talented artist. So.
Hey, everything you hear, everything.
And I am sorry that it took me so long to do this, David. As you know, I do still require 20 to 25 minutes of sleep a day. So
it used to only be 10 to 15. You know, he's getting older.
Slowing down in your old age, my friend.
Well, listen, I guess such a creative tree he lives in. Cursed monkey hasn't. There was a time we weren't even sure if Ian was Ian anymore.
Wasn't even sure if he was real.
Hey, Terry, how are you? So, Mr. Romero, will you join me in the beginning tonight at the end of the night, or are you going to be out playing with your wood?
Oh, well played.
That is very well played. No, I'd be honored to join you.
Awesome.
We need to wrap this one up here so that we can let Joe take his pee break. Yeah.
Dave has my hairstyle from 1986.
Who said that?
Wow. And I love it.
I mean, I suspect that that's Tiffany Shepis in disguise.
I got to say, you know, here's my favorite thing about the Indie Brigade. You know the expression, it's a tough crowd, it's a tough room. Like the Indie Brigade is a tough bar to walk up to and sit down at, man. And you know, I gotta say, we're full of people who have walked into this tough ass room, and I love it. You know, this is not a place for we are. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. Joe, do you have everything ready? You got the house lights ready to go?
Of course not.
Good job.
I'll see you guys at the top of the hour.
All right, David, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Man, you expect way too much. Are you going to do your thing?
Well, I'm waiting for you to tell me you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What an epic, legendary night we had. We had some amazing, phenomenal people on. We announced some great shit. Big things coming from the Indie Brigade. Big things coming from another gentleman who was watching tonight with the first name Ed. We've been doing some stuff behind the scenes, behind the curtain, and it's going to blow you all away. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you stay up on things. Make sure you stay part of the Brigade. And as always, fuck off till next time. To be an indie means we buck a system that doesn't want us. To be a fringe filmmaker means we don't do it for them. We do it for ourselves. To be an outlaw on the fringe means we'll die before we fail. Be an outlaw. To be an indie means we buck a system that doesn't want us. To be a fringe filmmaker means we don't do it for them. We do it for ourselves. To be an outlaw on the fringe means we'll die before we fail. be an outlaw.
A murder was left of me, scattered to pieces into the wind. Blood of my soul turned to rust, stained the empty halls within.
Ridgely.
It's the muted mic trick. How
I
are
was
you?
like, he's hanging me out to dry. I have to do the show all by myself.
Again.
This
is my favorite part. I let my hair down, turn the lights down, and
let's get this party started. Ho, where's a ho? No, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yes, big shows, big happenings tonight.
There are.
And Amanda Scoggins is already waiting for Nikki. Nikki will be on shortly, I promise you, Miss Scoggins. Hello, Mr. Smithson. How are you? I hope you're well. Libby McDermott, wonderful to see you. Hope you're well.
And there is Amanda. You're right. She is waiting patiently.
Yes.
Impatiently, patiently.
And I promise you, Amanda, he will be on shortly, and he will more than entertain you. I promise you that. Oh, thank you, Lance. Oh, Lance, I always do a segment at the beginning of the show, but I don't have tonight. I'm going to do collectibles, but 2 films I saw recently, and I think Lance especially would like them. Check out. They're both Nicolas Cage movies. Hi, Susie. They're both Nicolas Cage movies. One is The Color Out of Space. Did you see this, Joe?
I have not. I have it queued up. I haven't seen it yet.
Really, 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 really a cool movie. Very, very. I mean, first of all, it's visually stunning, but it's a very dark and quirky movie. See if you guys want to check it out while you're in quarantine. Check out Color of Space. I think it's called something very similar to that. And the other one, Color Out of Space, right? Sorry. And the other one, they were both made at the same time. By almost essentially the same filmmakers, is a film called Mandy. So, did you see Mandy?
I've seen Mandy.
Okay. I like Color Out of Space a little better, but Mandy is certainly a cool, trippy horror movie for you to check out.
Definitely trippy.
Yep. So, how was your Memorial Day weekend, Joe?
Mine was fantastic. How was yours?
It was, we actually got to go out for the first time. Up here, there's a drive-through apple orchard. So you can buy your tickets ahead of time, and then they scan it through your car window, and you press the button, open up the trunk, and they put like apple cider and apple donuts and all that jazz in there. And then we drove around and look at all the different apple trees, which was actually kind of cool. I mean, in this time, we need to. Wits End looks good. Oh, thank you, Brendon. Wits End is probably some of my finest work, and you'll see why when it comes out, because it was an incredibly difficult film to shoot. The average shooting day took place in between 4 and 5 feet of snow, so it was really just a very, very difficult film to shoot. And thank you, Brendon. But I digress. I'm very easily distracted. You notice that, Joe? Exactly. Quarter. So, to be honest, Haven for Heroes, how are you? I love you guys. I'm still reeling from the nasty hair comment from before. That was a real stinger.
Well, I missed the Haven for Heroes one. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
These things go by so fast sometimes that it's hard to keep up.
Yes, that's a wonderful, wonderful store. If anybody's in the Orange County region of New York, stop in Port Jervis and visit Haven for Heroes. They have some of the coolest stuff. They have celebrity signings all the time. My friend Brian O'Halloran and I just did a signing in there recently. Scott and I have done signings in there. Comic book artists. It's just a really cool place. So go check out Haven for Heroes if you get a chance. All right. I'm going to pull out my first toy because I'm excited.
This is a PG show.
This toy is 16 years old, Joe. So it's just a few years younger than you are, of course. And it's one of my favorite films and one of my favorite series. And many people who know me will tell you, oh, thank you, Rebecca. That's very kind of you to say. Many people who know me will tell you that I am one of the two of my favorite iconic actors of all time were Donald Pleasance and Roddy McDowall. And did you want? I heard like a little. Were you going to say something, Joe?
No, I mean they both played the same iconic character.
Who was that? What iconic character did they both play? Who did Donald Pleasance and Roddy McDowall both play?
Halloween. Am I on the wrong page?
Yeah, you're on the wrong page, brother.
Oh, sorry.
Roddy McDowall played Peter Vincent in Fright Night.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of the guy from.
You're thinking of Malcolm McDowell.
McDowell. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That guy's a schmuck. Don't even.
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
I confused the name. I thought you were going in.
No. Roddy McDowall is the guy who played, and this has nothing to do with what I'm about to show you, but I like rambling on about stuff that I care about, and people tune out at that point. Roddy McDowall played Cornelius and Peter Vincent in Fright Night, and Donald Pleasance, of course, is Dr. Loomis from Halloween, and he played in Frank Langella's Dracula. So this toy is, I like to keep my collectibles still in boxes, and I think this is actually rather collectible. It's 16 years old. It's the only set that ever had a Donald Pleasance action figure in it. And you look, he's got his little 357 Magnum in there with him. And on the other side, it's the porch of Halloween. Let's see if I can figure out how to make this work. On the other side, wrong way, is Michael. Well, you can't see Michael. There he is. You could kind of see him. There's Michael Myers. And it's on the porch setting of the original Halloween. That's better. Of the original Halloween motion picture. And it has a Dr. Loomis action figure and a Michael Myers action figure. And you shot him 6 times through the heart. He isn't human. Sorry, that was my very, very bad Donald Pleasance impersonation. Thank you, Rob. I think that's a really super cool toy. Most of my toys are usually like 40 or 50 years old. That's one of the newer ones. But, it's a freaking Donald Pleasance doll. I mean, how much better can you get? The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is a collectible. And this was only available at Shea Stadium at a Met game on June 5th, 1987. They actually staged the Amazing Spider-Man's wedding at a Met game. And every fan who came to that day got this bag to take home with them. And this is actually the first time this bag since 33 years ago that it's been opened. So let's see what's in here. It came with the giant-sized Amazing Spider-Man issue where Spider-Man marries Mary Jane Watson. That's pretty epic. And it also came with a poster of the New York Mets at the time. And you got the Hulk and Spider-Man and Roger McDowell, the Met, over here, and Darryl Strawberry, and Wally Backman, and this is actually my dear friend of mine, Lee Mazzilli, over here, Captain America. That all came in the set from when Spider-Man, like Spider-Man would get married in the Astrodome. Really, Lance? Get a clue. June 5th, 1987, at Shea Stadium, the great Spider-Man marries Mary Jane wedding at I was actually there. And on my way out, I stole like 100 of those bags. So I think the statute of limitations is probably long over. But
7, yeah, probably.
Yeah. But now I could sell them on eBay for like $100 a pop. So it's pretty awesome.
I'll give you $350.
You got it.
So I've got a bald guy in the green room, and I got a guy with a hat in the green room.
All right, let's bring up the bald guy first.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Bald Guy.
Hello. Did you guys notice how much just amazing bald people we had on the show earlier? was a whole.
No, I didn't. I saw Grieco's hair, and that's the only reason I wore a hat.
Yeah, Grieco showed up then and completely just shamed all of us bald guys.
And I'm still reeling from the nasty 80s hair comment.
I don't understand that one. I would say your hairstyle's from like 92.
Okay. Now at least we're getting closer. Listen, when I bought this toupee, it was the only one I could afford. So,
And it shows.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, all kidding aside, is one of the coolest actors around. He's one of the kindest and most giving people you will meet on the convention circuit. He's an incredibly talented actor, a great performer, and a dear friend of mine. Let's everybody welcome, from so many shows, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Private Practice, Criminal Minds, the great Nicholas Brendon. Whoa, Mr. Brendon, you're looking super suave. You have a little fire going on.
A lot of torches. I was down by a fire pit I just built, and I lit a fire in that thing. I'm burning evidence. It's good. By the way, teeth do not burn. Really, you gotta. And pigs, they can't digest them either. So it's the teeth that are the problem.
You always got to pick up the teeth when the pigs
have to. Acid will do it. Acid.
Or just tell your friends they're chiclets.
It's not my friends I'm worried about. It's the DA.
It should be the DNA you should be worried about.
But that's going to be actually my rap name, DNA. I'm dropping spunk on you.
Thank you so very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for asking me to join you tonight.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I am. Do you believe me? I'm doing well. I'm doing really good. I just discovered Jesus Christ. He rides shotgun in my car. The thing about when Jesus rides shotgun in your car is that there are times when someone is sitting on Jesus. You know what I mean? Which is rude.
It depends on who it is.
It's, you know what? It's still, I mean, Jesus always rides shotgun in my car. But I'm like, but it's like you got a buddy who's sitting in shotgun. He's sitting on Jesus. I sit on Elijah a lot too. So.
And just look at it this way, he might rise for a second time.
Hey man, just even saying that, I'm getting a rise.
You know what? I like to take the ghost of McQueen with me riding shotgun.
Steve McQueen or Alexander McQueen?
Steve.
Okay.
Well,
I had a dog. I had a German Shepherd who passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. His name was Steve. It was 3 Steves actually. Steve Sachs, the Dodgers second baseman, Steve McQueen, and Humphrey Bogart's pet name from Bacall was Steve. So his name was Steve's. When you adopt a dog, by the way, a German Shepherd in this case, you don't love that dog when you first get it, and 10 years later, it devastates you.
Yeah,
it devastates you. And I was doing this movie called Coherence, and I like Rick Astley. You know, it's like, so I'll listen to like different music as I'm going to set. So I'm on set and I'm singing Together Forever, and our producer Lena, she was a Swedish like a model from Sweden, and she's like, "Fuck you, Nikki," and I'm like, "Fuck you, Lena." I said, "Why are we fucking each other right now?" She's like, "Well, you know I'm married to Rick Astley." I said, "No, I did not know that." And so, when I had to put Steve down, it was 4 hours that I had before the vet got to my house. He couldn't get up anymore, so we were nose to nose. And I rickrolled Steve. I did Together Forever for 4 hours, and he went away. And then I called Lena. I said, are you with Rick? And she's like, yeah, we're actually at Wimbledon right now, darling. I said, will you thank him for me? Because I just rickrolled Steve for 4 hours. And it was just, I can now listen to that song again. But it was just devastating. It's devastating to where it's really kind of put me off to getting a dog again, because you love them so much. I'm a lover.
We have
Absolutely.
4 dogs, man, and I don't even want to think about. I can't even think about it.
I told my ex-girlfriend, I said, I'm going to either handle Steve's death with dignity or not. And it was the latter. It was definitely the latter.
You know, George, what you and Joe don't know about Mr. Brendon here is that he is quite a good singer. In fact, I had a show in New Jersey that had a celebrity jam at the end that included Brian O'Halloran on vocals and Kevin Van Henrik was jamming on a guitar and Scott Schiaffo was on a guitar and the cat.
And I was on skin flute.
Yes, and he was on skin flute. And Nicholas comes on stage, literally does an a cappella version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and totally just the entire crowd. Yeah,
that was fun. That was great.
And
the Israel Kamakalaka Lulu version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow
with the ukulele.
Yeah.
And he literally had the entire crowd eating out of the palm of his hand, and
not a dry eye in the house.
Yes, and all the women were swooning, and
a lot of sex that night.
Yes, and sadly not for me. And
no, we had sex.
No,
we did. Yes, we did. I have pictures, so don't tell me we didn't.
Joe, do you have those loaded?
So.
The fact that Libby was taping it, it's like actually kind of cool.
Well, I had to do it from behind because I couldn't look at your hair, your 80s hair. I'm like, oh my God, man, it's getting me soft, man. Turn around. Stapled a picture of my mom to the back of your head.
Come on, you loved it. You were pulling that shit, right?
I make mayonnaise for you. I make mayonnaise.
Wow, this show's gone down a.
That's what happens when I do things like this. After 11. It's like Dark Shadow.
Listen, it's only like 8 o'clock. What was that?
My God. You know who I look like? I look like a lesbian hairdresser in that show.
I think you look like a demented Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it's funny. Did you say that Richard Grieco was on the show?
Earlier. Yeah.
Okay, it's funny. I used to work at a place called Jerry's Deli in LA. And it was the all night shift, so I'd start at 11 and get off at 8. Like it was a bad. Richard Grieco came in a couple of times, and I'm like, that guy's got some good hair.
Yeah,
like really good hair. But he's a hair actor, though. You know what I mean?
Joe is afraid to actually. Joe has to wear a hat when Grieco's on because Grieco hair shames Joe.
Why? How could you hair shame Joe? Joe, you've got beautiful hair.
Well, thank you.
Like all over. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, I know.
He's going for the cousin it look.
It's wonderful. I mean, you wear it well. Are you a human? Are you Homo sapien?
I think.
Okay, cool. I'm not sure. We'll find out. We'll get tests. I'm having to grow a beard right now because I'm doing a movie where they want me to have a beard, and it's when I look at myself, it's odd. It's just odd to see me with a beard because the way it grows, it's gray, and it looks like I had a Fu Manchu. Like, it's like it's a handlebar mustache I have.
It works for you though.
Oh, I know it does, Dave. I know.
Right,
I have mirrors.
Samantha says she wants to keep him, so I mean he's got to stay.
Did we ever find out why those cops were there? By the way, at that hotel, which by the way was the worst hotel I've ever stayed at in my life.
Oh, this is
only the best for you. Only the best for you, Mr. Brendon.
It was weird because I remember finally talking to the front desk, and half the people that lived there were long-term tenants. Were going through not the best part of their life.
Let me explain something to you, Nicholas. When you do a show at an old Western town in the middle of New Jersey, we're lucky they didn't sleep in tents.
I'm not bitching at you, man. I was just weird to be in a place where anyone that was staying there for an extended stay was not. It's not the best time of their life. You know what I mean? There's a lot of sadness at that hotel.
Absolutely, but I was impressed.
Thank you, by the way, for that, Dave. Thank you.
Oh, anything for you, my friend. The Jeeps that the Roaches drove around in were some of the nicest Jeeps I've ever seen. 100%. I'll give you that.
And those cars were concept cars too. You can't even buy those things. The Roaches were driving around fucking VW Beetles.
Blaine, I like that. We got to get a mug that says "Blame the Homo sapien."
Blame the Homo sapien. True, man. I was born a Homo sapien. You think I'd ask to be a Homo sapien?
All right. We actually have to, because there are people who want to learn about you, Nicholas, because you're like
to read makes me speak English good.
Absolutely.
Is that Shakespeare? I think that was Shakespeare.
Actually, Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I remember the commercial.
This might be the syphilis talking, but some of that made sense. Also, another Xander line. Nothing defeats the penis. Another Xander
line. Okay.
So, Dave, you were saying.
Let's start with your great role as Xander Harris in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. How did you nail that role?
Man, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Good. That's a
Before he answers that,
Absolutely.
George and I are going to bow out, and we are going to let you guys do your thing.
You guys are more than welcome to stay if you like.
I remember when after our AV check, I couldn't hang up, and Joe had said something like, "Okay," and then Dave, you're like, "Yeah, he's a handful," and I'm like, "I can still hear you."
I think
Nicholas, I wouldn't say that to your face.
You would, I know.
I can't thank you enough for coming on the Brigade tonight, Nicholas. So
thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you here. I've been a big fan for a long time, man. So
pleasure to meet you
nice
virtually,
to meet you, man. And have
pleasure,
fun, guys.
Joe. Be well.
Thank you. You as
Take
well.
care.
Later, Homo sapien.
Homo sapien.
You made my life with that, Nicholas. I will be calling him Homo sapien for
You
the
have
rest
to.
of. Yeah.
Do you think I asked to be a Homo sapien?
He's now my number one Homo. Oh, he's back. He's
Yeah,
back
he
with
is.
an evil
looming.
look.
He almost looks like Boris Karloff in an old movie when he's playing the devil.
You know, that was probably one of the nicest things anybody ever said to you, Joe. That's pretty awesome. I wish somebody, Boris Karloff was pretty epic. So tell us, how did you get the role of Xander Harris on Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I mean, it's such a the story itself is it takes you about 20 minutes because it's man to tell it properly. All right, fuck. All right. So, how much time do you have? I guess
we are on as long as you want to be with us.
Okay, so all right, so I'll do. The day I quit playing baseball, I was 20 years old. In college, I started acting. My mom was an agent, and I called my mom on a payphone. I said, "Bring home a script of Growing Pains and of Doogie Howser." I had this big big video camera from the 80s, right? Huge. It didn't record sound, but it recorded action. And I used that camera to record my swing in my batting cage in the backyard and kind of break it down. So when I quit playing baseball, I took that camera, I put it in the corner of my room, and I taped me to see if I had a look that was that I could see on TV. And it wasn't horrible. So I'm like, cool. But I had a very bad stutter. So that's why I got into acting. And so I took an acting class and I did a lot of tongue twisters. I'm about 20, 21 at the time now. And one of the tongue twisters that I did, and I did thousands of them a day, was this one. Theophilus Thistle, the successful thistle sifter, and sifting a sieve of unsifted thistles, thrust 3,000 thistles through the thick of his thumb. Now, if Theophilus Thistle, the successful thistle sifter, and sifting a sieve of unsifted thistles, thrust 3,000 thistles through the thick of his thumb, success to the successful thistle sifter. That was one of them. And when I played baseball, I trained for about 10 hours a day. And I did that with acting. I just was doing repetition. Mm-hmm. And so my mom was my agent, and I did about 8 commercials and a couple. I did a guest spot on Growing Pains that got cut out, and in a reenactment show. But I wasn't having fun. My mom and I had to part ways, and the '94 earthquake hit. Right, I was a mile away from that epicenter in LA. It was horrible, by the way. It's terrifying. And my first thought after everyone was alive that I knew was, oh, cool. I don't have to go to that audition at Fox. That's how much I didn't want to be acting. I'm like, thank you, earthquake. So I quit. I quit, and I was gonna I'll be a doctor, but I was just kind of doing odd jobs for about I was 22, so about 2.5 years. And my twin brother Kelly was dating this girl named Jen McComb. Jen McComb's mom, Kathy McComb, was a manager. And she and I were tight. And I was at the house every day. And she was an old New York Jew. She's like, Nikki, act. And I said, I don't want to act, Kathy. I didn't have fun. Every day I'd see her, act. And I'm like, no. I was working on a show called Dave's World as a PA with Harry Anderson and Meshack Taylor and Patrick Warburton and Shadow Stevens. And I was a PA, which is the lowest rung of turd that you can be. And so I remember on tape tape nights on Thursdays, all the writers would be around the monitor. If a joke didn't hit, they would all be pitching jokes. I would be that PA was also with those writers pitching jokes. Why not? My jokes are better than theirs. And so there was an episode where they told me, he's like, Nikki, next week there's a college student on the show. You're gonna act. You're not gonna be a PA next week. You're gonna play the college student. I was like like the best utility baseball player, but for a TV show. I can write, I'll act, you know, I can like put scripts together and drop them off. So I acted for that episode, played the college student, and I got back to work on Monday. It's the beginning of January, and I'm told that Michael Peacock, the Not Fun producer, the money guy, wants to see me in his office at 6:30 in the morning when I first got there. And I'm like, cool. Hey, Michael, what's up? He's like, come in, close the door. I said, okay. He's like, we all here think that you're a horrible PA and that you should be acting. So we're letting you go as a PA. And now my girlfriend and my best friend were having a little affair behind my back. So I was devastated with that. I'd broken up. I'm living in a red flagged apartment in the Valley in LA that's infested with fleas. I've got 300 like flea bites on my body, and I've just lost my job. And so I was at bottom. And so I got in my Honda Civic, my 2-door red hatchback, and I drove straight to Kathy McComb's house. I said, fuck it, let's act. The next day I met with Iris Burton, who was Joaquin Phoenix and Rivers' agent. Signed with her. The next day I had 3 auditions for pilots because it just started the pilot season. And I would say probably at the beginning of February, I had a general meeting with the head of casting at Warner Brothers. And it was a wonderful meeting. She was great, like an hour and a half. The lighting was awesome. It was just great. It was a very lovely office and a very lovely room. And she had said at the end, there's a show you might be right for. It's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So she gave me the script. I didn't hear anything for 2 months. Now, mind you, I've got between 2 and 3 auditions a day between the time I met with her and then when I finally went in at the end of March. And, pilot season is now coming to an end. And so I get the call on Wednesday. It's been 2 months. I couldn't even find the script that she gave me. And so I go in, it's 10 a.m. And I walk in the office and Marcia Schulman's behind her desk. She's casting. Gail Berman, who became the head of Paramount Studios, is to the right. Joss Whedon is to the left. Gail Berman's on her phone. She's on her phone long enough to where I'm still timid. I said something about it. And I said this. I say, yo, you still talking to Rocco? Well, you tell that piece of shit. He sells me $25 and I ain't fucking forgot about it. And I said something to Joss, like bada bing, bada boom. Right? When I read for Marcia at 10 o'clock, she gave me a note. And I remember thinking, that's a bad note. It makes it less funny. So I started doing the first scene. And halfway through, Joss says, stop. That guy that came in here, do it that way. I said, cool. So I did it that way. I got a phone call an hour later that I'm going to be testing at Fox Studios on Friday, the next day. And I hadn't tested yet. I was getting a lot of great feedback, but I hadn't had a test deal yet. So I get to Fox Studios, and there are 18 people testing for Xander. 18. I was the last to go in. They had tested 4 times before, and we're shooting in 5 days. This is it. This is the last test they can do. Xander's Joss. So Joss is trying to cast himself, Mm-hmm. And so like 2.5 hours, I'm waiting and I'm nervous. It just cotton mouth and I'm not having a good time. I went to the bathroom a lot, peed, checked my hair, make sure I wasn't pitting out. I finally go in, about 100 people in there in that room, in like tiered seating. The most important people I come to find out are in the front row. And as it tiers up, it's, less important as it pertains to Fox. And I do the first scene and I'm horrible. Like, I can't control my voice. My eyes twitching. I'm flop sweating. It's bad. I have no saliva in my mouth. The second scene was worse. And the third scene was, hey, Buffy, you forgot your steak. And the way I said it was, hey, Buffy, you forgot your fucking steak. and I run after her. And then I come right up to this guy wearing a very nice suit and male pattern baldness. And I sit in his lap. Because I'm like, I remember thinking, you're fucking this up, man. You goddamn. And I sit in this, because I fucked it up already. I sit in his lap and I cross my legs and I tend to chew gum and curl my hair. I'm like, hey, stud, you come here often? And it was the head of Fox Studios that I did that. And that saved me. They let 16 people go. 2 of us were going to test at Warner Brothers on Monday. So it was a weekend of diarrhea, and just anxiety. So I remember the audition was at 5:35. What an odd time to have, like your last test for a TV show, 5:35. So we get there, and it's the guy. I did a movie with this guy, Children of the Corn Part 3. He was the star. I was an extra. And I came to find out I was not first choice. He was first choice. SAG rules stipulate that you cannot test a person against himself. I was a warm body. I was a seat filler at the Oscars who sat in for Jack Nicholson because he had to go pee, and only I became more popular than Jack Nicholson somehow. Yeah. So we're at Warner Brothers. He goes in first. Comes out. I go to the bathroom a few times, check things out, pee a couple times. And so he comes out, and then Marcia comes out. Let's go, Nikki, or Nicholas. And so I go, and the office is empty, and I walk, and I open the door. The door's open, and I'm like, oh, of course. It was that same office that I'd been in where I got the script initially that I loved so much. And all the stress and every doubt went poof, and I was just relaxed. I was relaxed. And I did the first scene and they applauded. I did the second scene, they applauded louder. When I finished the third scene, they gave me a standing ovation. And I remember I closed the door and I'm walking back to where he and I are sitting. Mm-hmm. And I passed the bathroom. And when I audition, I go to the bathroom a lot, just to move, because I've got my stuff down. And so I passed the bathroom, and that little character that says that it's a men's room. It's the one not wearing a skirt, right? So I walk, and then I come back to that little guy, and I square up to him, and he was the first person I told. I said, "Hey, buddy, I think we just booked a TV show." And then I go back and I sit down, and we're waiting, and Marcia comes out and says, "Nicholas, you can go home. We're going to torture him one more time." And he knew that he was first choice. When you're first choice for something, you know that you're first choice, And so now he's going back in, and I could only imagine how painful it was, because now he's getting notes. He wasn't getting notes before, which means that as an actor, they don't like something that I'm doing, and you get in your head. 9 a.m. that next Tuesday morning, I get a page from Kathy McComb at 9 a.m. I pull over to a gas station in Santa Monica. I put in a quarter. She picks up the phone. She's crying, and she's like, "You got it! You got it! You got it!" Hadn't Dave's World fired me initially, that was the first domino that fell. That was completely out of my control, because I would have been working on that show till June as a PA. Hadn't I said that to Gail Berman? Hadn't I sat in the head of Fox Studios' lap? All these things came to make this thing happen, and it's crazy.
It also shows your ability to look at a situation, to understand what needs to be done, and to sell yourself properly.
But that's why there's such a disservice not auditioning in rooms anymore, taping it. If I had sent in tape for Buffy, I wouldn't have gotten that part, because all of those things led to that.
One of the great sayings is learning to play the room, and you played the room, and not only are you charming, but you also won them over because you can act, which is very. But
not at Fox. Trust me, it was horrible. The note that they gave them, watch him, he seemed nervous. Yeah, I was fucking nervous, man. I wasn't speaking English, I don't think. I couldn't form words, I don't know how they passed me. I sat in the right guy's lap, and I did some improv.
Yes, it was the charm that won them over.
Yeah, and I've got good body smell.
There you go. It's that Axe body spray. It works every time.
This before Axe, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Drakkar Noir.
It's back when iron was popular.
I smell like aluminum and lead.
Yes. Brandon E. Brooks, who's a friend of the show and also a filmmaker. Nick, were there ever plans from Joss Whedon to give Xander some sort of powers or make him a vampire on Buffy? Or was Xander always set to be the hero on the show with no added abilities?
Yeah, no, there was never any. I was actually upset when the Halloween episode, when I became the soldier. Mm-hmm. I was upset that I had recall to that, because I didn't want anything. I would love being the only person who didn't. I was unique in that aspect, and I love being unique. So I felt that when I had recall to like army stuff, I'm like, Joss, I don't want that. Like, I don't, and you don't want it either. It's just making the story a lot, it's making it easier to tell right now, Don't be lazy, Joss. Fix this, And so there was never any Xander was always going to be. We needed a normal human being, on the show, but yeah, so there was never any plans for making Xander with really acute hearing, with a perfect palate.
For the ability
so what's your hero ability? I've got a perfect palate, buddy, and don't yell. I've got really good hearing too.
Or it's that X-Men guy who could projectile vomit.
Yes, him, and it's acid. I came up with a Marvel thing, and it's a guy with really acute hearing. So it doesn't do much now, but in the Cold War, maybe. His ear holes are bigger, and he's made a costume to fight crime, and his name is Hero, Hearo.
I like it.
And we need a hero.
I'm going to get. Listen, you know Whedon, I know Favreau. We'll get them on the phone, and that's your That's your foray into the MCU universe.
Let's amalgamate them, and let's call them Weavro. You are now one person, and you're Wavro. Cool.
Speaking,
and you're still Joss. Joss is better than Joss. Joss Wavro.
And speaking of Joss, did you at the time when you were doing Buffy realize that Joss was going to become one of the most powerful directors in Hollywood?
I knew that when we shot the presentation, when there was a different Willow, we all went to me, Tony, Riff Regan, who played Willow at the time, and Sarah went to Joss's house to just rehearse and stuff before we shot the presentation. And Steven Spielberg called his house because he needed some help with Twister. And I'm like, okay, cool. So he's got your home number? You guys ever go out for sushi? Right. What's he eat? So it was like, and it's hard when the first thing that you do is that I peaked my first, you know what I mean? It's like, and especially our relationship was so unique because I was playing him. And so it was definitely, we worked so well together. He didn't have to talk. He's like, Brendo's. I'm like, I got it. He gave me like, the worst direction you can give is faster but slower. And he gave it to me once and I knew exactly what he meant. A little faster in the beginning, a little slower at the end. Copy that, sir. Brendo's, perfect emotion. I put that there for a reason. Had to be word perfect. Copy that, sir. We just worked together really, 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 really well. And it was wonderful. Wonderful. And it's so easy to memorize that dialogue.
Mm-hmm. John Wolkowitz is watching and he says The Body was one of the greatest episodes of in all of TV. So
The Body was our most effective episode that we did. I've watched it once because it was very effective. It's very uncomfortable. I met a fan whose favorite episode was The Body, and she's watched it multiple times. I said, back up a little bit. You're scaring me right now, And it's like, but when I did Private Practice, Shonda called me over. She's like, Nikki, come here. I'm gonna tell you something. I said, what? She's like, I'm totally stealing from Joss in this episode with The Body because I'm not gonna have any music. I said, good for you, Shonda. It's neat to see these like big showrunners how they just look up to and admire Joss. It's neat to see that. Yeah, I love that because I love Joss. I love him very much.
Now, something you were touching on earlier that is, I know you for a long time now, and I never actually knew this. And it's another thing that we both share. You're a baseball player, right?
Yeah.
What level did you play up till?
I went to college.
Okay.
Our high school baseball team was ranked number 1 in the nation. So I started playing baseball when I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get serious here real quick and kind of weird. I was molested by a teacher for 2 years in a Christian school, and it was a thing. It was before Megan's Law and stuff, and he went to prison, but I didn't go to therapy, and I discovered baseball and it saved my life. And so I dove headfirst into baseball, and I just loved it. Playing on the number 1 team in high school in the nation,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pressure to that, to where the fun kind of started to go away. And then in college, it was kind of like the fun went away. It served its purpose for 10 years. It saved my life. And then so it's like, I do not want to go to a batting cage ever again. I'll throw the ball. I've got a lovely arm. I've got a very strong arm, but I don't have to play it anymore. I did that. I can watch it and I love all the nuances of baseball. Love it. I love
funny
baseball.
Because in 1989, I was playing for LaSalle Academy, which is one of the more prestigious schools in Northeast. And I got drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, but I decided to go to college.
What round?
And I was like I'm trying to remember the exact number, but it was like the 9th round. They actually used to go 16 rounds back then.
Okay.
and Mike Piazza was
a 63rd rounder.
Yes, it was like the very last pick. So
he's a favorite of Tom Lasorda. From his
because his dad was a used car salesman in Pennsylvania who sold Tommy cars.
Yeah, Mike Piazza met Ted Williams and then read his book, and it changed everything about his hitting. It was his Ted Williams. That's where he had the turn, and he's a Hall of Famer now.
And then I went to college and I played. I got drafted out of college by St. Louis, and I played 2 seasons in the New York Penn League, which is a single A for St. Louis in Augusta, New Jersey. And I hit a home run off a guy who had a very good major league career named Cliff Polite.
What was his name?
Cliff Polite.
What team did he play for?
He played for St. Louis actually most of his career.
Really?
Yeah.
How long was he in? Was he in the show for?
I think Cliff was probably in for about maybe 10 or 11 years. I also played with Jay Payton. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he was a center fielder for the Mets.
What position did you play?
I was a first baseman.
How many home runs did you hit in those 2 years?
I had 13.
Okay. So 7 and 6 1 year.
Yeah, I made the big mistake. 10 and 3 actually.
Okay.
I made the big mistake of growing up being a Mets fan, and I loved Dave Kingman as a kid. And Dave Kingman was either hit the ball 550 feet or strike out, and that's essentially the same thing I was turning out to be. So,
why didn't you change that? You know what I mean? It's because you see that it's like, okay, you've got power, right? Mm-hmm. But why don't we? Did you like hitting home runs? Like, were you addicted to hit home runs to get big contact?
I felt like if I hit a single, I let myself down.
Yeah, like even though you made good contact, like you almost didn't feel it hit the wooden bat. Right. I went the other way. God damn it! I moved the runner over. God damn, you know what I mean?
Yes. If I didn't like hit the light tower, I was not.
Yeah. Happy. Did you when you hit home runs? Would they go far?
They were very, very majestic. I was a very majestic home run hitter, but I only hit when I played in the New York Penn League. I only hit between 220 and 230.
That's Dave Kingman.
Yeah, and back when I was playing in college, it's so much different because I would hit between 350 and 400 in college.
And how many home runs in college?
I actually held my college record for 24 home runs as a freshman.
That's great. Are you lefty or righty?
I'm a righty.
Okay.
But enough about my stupidity.
No, I love this. I love this stuff.
No,
I can't play golf, by the way. I cannot hit a golf ball off a tee with a driver. I could hit a slider going 95, moving on 3 different planes, but I can't hit a stationary ball with a driver. I miss it. I'll swing and miss every time.
I also find golf to be unbelievably boring.
Yeah. I think you probably have ADHD too. It's okay.
There you go.
It's beautiful, but I don't want to walk around that much. 18 holes, come on.
It's really just about drinking with your friends and driving the golf cart.
And I don't drink. You know what I mean? So there's nothing worse than by hole 6 you're drunk. You got 12 holes left. Oh my god.
You have said earlier when you were speaking about Buffy that you started talking about private practice. Can you tell us a little bit about your role as Lee McHenry and how you landed that show?
It was I had written a pilot that I shot. I was playing myself. I was playing Nicholas Brendon, the actor. Mm-hmm. And in that pilot, I wrote because it was me and 2 of my friends, and I wrote, "Hey guys, I think I gotta rape somebody. You're not a real actor unless you rape somebody." And a week later, I get a call from Shonda Rhimes. Hello, Nicholas. Yes, it's Shonda Rhimes. Hi, I have a question for you. Okay. How would you feel about playing a rapist? I said, I feel good about it. I said, I got a question for you. How'd you get my phone number? She's like, your manager. I said, cool. She's like, do you want to know why we came to this decision? I said, sure. So I took a vote in the writers' room of private practice, and we said, who's the least likely person that you would expect to be a rapist? And it was unanimous. Xander Harris was the least. And they said, okay, we're going to hire Nicholas Brendon. Now, had I known how brutal it was going to be, I would have definitely thought on it longer and harder. Mm-hmm. It affected me because it was bad. It was really it was very real. She was great, but it was such and actually our stunt coordinator from Buffy was the stunt coordinator on private practice. So I had a home around me, but it was just not Had I known, to where it's like if there are scenes like that, now, like I really will either try and change it. But if it's needed for the movie, I'll do it. But man, it's definitely with a different temperament. Yeah, because it's even though it's acting, it was fucked. It was fucked up.
And then, of course, you went on to do Criminal Minds.
Yes, right. 8 years.
How did that come to fruition?
Okay, baby. They were auditioning. They saw 5 people, I think, for this role. And I remember Tom Link, who was on Buffy, also went in. And it was supposed to be a 3-episode arc. Penelope had gotten shot, and I was going to take over, and so I just remember going in, and it was just a good audition. It's like it just felt right because Kevin Lynch was kind of half Xander and half Willow. If they were to have a baby or just being, that atom machine where it's like 5 miles long of tunnel on each side, and they shoot atoms, and it becomes one. It's like if Willow and Xander would be in that thing and get shot together, it would be Kevin Lynch. So I just understood. It, and it just so happened that they liked the character, and me and Kirsten, we acted really well together. It was, I think she was probably the easiest person. It was just like boom, like it just kind of clicked right away. Yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah. And then 8 years of that, and then as I kind of was getting arrested for the 16th time.
Don't lie. It was only the 14th time. Right?
No, this is the 16th time. Well, no, it was 14, 15, and 16 when I was on the show. They had realized that they said maybe he is a criminal mind, and so I had to start looking. I had to start doing a deep dive into me and saying, you know what, this isn't normal behavior. So and that's when I started really saying what's going on, and we're doing a lot of work now with depression, with stigmas, with bullying, and all that stuff, because if you're not bullying, then you're not living.
I promise you.
I'm against bullying. That's right.
Yes.
I'm against bullying.
I promise you that I will let you get to that. A dear friend of the show is actress Tiffany Shepis, and she was on, I think, 2 weeks ago, and she worked on the Attack of the Morningside Monster with me.
Oh, man.
Yes.
I do. Who did she play?
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Don't. Hold on. Because I need to see. Hold on real quick. I'm Googling. This is great. This is great television. I'm going to Google something. Would you spell her name for me?
Tiffany Shepis.
Huh?
She's actually quite.
Oh yeah. She played the cop. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's a great actress.
She's fantastic. The girl who played my wife, however.
Oh.
I wanted to make sure that it wasn't that person. Thank you, baby. So yeah, I like her a lot. She's wonderful.
No, she has nothing but nice things to say about you, and that was
and her.
Yes. Now, do you have a film called Christmas Slasher coming out?
I do. Yeah, that was. It's funny. This thing called COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't want to be around for COVID-20. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I'm not waiting for the sequel on this one.
My lord, so it's kind of I'm supposed to be shooting a movie right now in LA called Want and Want, and it's got pushed back to July. Ergo the beard, and then I think this last year everything just kind of stopped. It froze, and I remember I had just auditioned for why am I forgetting? The blonde comedian who does movies. She what is her name? Does
she have the new cooking show now?
What was
Amy Schumer?
Yes, Amy Schumer. So I just auditioned to play Amy Schumer's lover in her Hulu show. And I remember, and he was this character was he was it's a introvert, and I just nailed it. You know what I mean? I just really nailed it. And to where, I mean, it was a tape here at my girlfriend's house where we've been at for 5 months now. And it was one take. I'm like, done, let it go. And then COVID hit the next day. I'm like, Mom, call him.
You know,
imagine
sucks.
like they just calling. So we understand there's a pandemic going on right now, but can we talk Nicholas Brendon?
This COVID thing sucks so badly because in June, actually it was in May, I was finally getting my film with Brian O'Halloran and Scott Schiaff for the Clerks guys released in theaters, and now it's in limbo because everything's in limbo.
Why don't you stream? What is it? Has it been shot?
Oh yeah, it's completely done. Yeah.
Why don't you just stream it?
Well, I had a deal in place to release it theatrically, but now I have to wait and see if they're going to release it at a later date or if I will be able to stream it or something. But
this thing just really kind of just stopped everything,
Yeah. No, you know what's funny? It sucks because a lot of people are really good spirited about it, and there are a lot of people who are watching us right now who are escaping from all the horrible bullshit going on in the world and are laughing at us having fun. But
laugh like in a good way.
Laughing with us. Yeah,
and because when people laugh at me, I love that. It's I remember I have both of my knees are blown out, so and so my surgery has been put on hold. But I'm at my girlfriend's house in Louisville, Kentucky, because I figured better to ride out a pandemic in like rural Indiana than in Los Angeles, California. And so I found a doctor out here to get it done, and I went to his office, and they're doing the thing, one person in the room, and the nurse was just like, "Thank you for being so nice, because people are just being really horrible and mean and rude." I'm like, what? It's a fucking pandemic. You know what I mean? It's bigger than me. I'll just kind of be, I'll be kind. I'm also just a kind person, but it's like, who would be rude? It's crazy to me, but people are unhappy.
Yeah, no. And it's sad because a lot of artistic and wonderful things are now just getting screwed over. But
minor league baseball is taking a hit. Like it's devastating. It's devastating minor league baseball. I just read that today. They're only doing 6 rounds of the draft, I think.
Yes, and also another thing that's happened is that each team is releasing between 40 and 50 of their minor league players, just releasing them.
Yeah.
The Mets got rid of 42 guys today. But oddly enough...
But there were 42 guys that were not on the 40-man roster.
Correct, yes. But with the Mets, would you even notice? George Romero said earlier, Nicholas, your Google was showing, so that's something that you might want to clean up.
Listen, I've waxed my Google, so I don't mind if it shows. I have a smooth Google.
Nair will do that.
Yeah, yes, it will.
Tell me about you have is it like a program, but you have something with Slay the Stigma?
Yes, it's kind of Well, I have a supporters Facebook for depression and for people who are it's got about 3,000 people in it right now. People who are going through it. It's just this beautiful community that there's no bullying, there's no bullshit. You're just kind and have love, Mm-hmm. And so Slay the Stigma was something that my girlfriend Sarah had really kind of come up together, and it's just a way of. I didn't realize how much bullying and bullshit was on social media, and so it's that thing of people say this, you know what? If they're bullying, they're probably bullied themselves when they were kids. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? If you got bullied, then that how it made you feel, then you shouldn't do it. Like excuses are like assholes. You know what I mean? It's like, I was molested as a kid. I didn't become a molester, It's like, no, stay in your lane and don't have malice in your heart. Don't have hate in your heart, and don't be ignorant. And so it's just there is so much of it out there. I didn't realize how much of it was out there. And it's just giving people a platform and empowering people people are socially awkward I would say 80 to 90% are just socially awkward. I get around a girl, Jesus. I'm speaking like duck language, quack quack. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm not, and that's okay. I think it's accepting who you are, and also kind of with the stigma just across the board, people who might be perpetuating stigmas, maybe they'll recognize it. You know, if I can help one person with it, then great. You know, my goal is to make at least one person smile a day. If I make more than that, then it was even a better day.
No, absolutely. And that's why, I think, what I think of you. I think you're awesome. I think you're an incredibly talented actor. But I also want to, as far as people bullying, I think it's more a matter of people who feel inadequate about themselves and quite frankly are either jealous or of people who understand what being a human being is and what being kind. And I mean,
I think it's tough because they weren't born that way. You know, it's like I understand the pathology of, you know, but I don't see it as an excuse, and I don't see it that it's acceptable. Because and this is just me. I don't understand how tearing someone else down can empower you to make you feel better about yourself. I just don't get that. So I battle depression from time to time, right? And I really do. I'll fake it till I make it, and I'll keep it simple, stupid. And those are two things I got out of AA when I was in AA, and they're great tenets. But keep it simple, stupid's wonderful. But I find that when if I voice I'm not feeling great emotionally, I'll get a tummy ache. But if I do my mantra, I love you over and over again in my head, I get filled with joy. And it's just kind of like, it's weird. Words are so powerful. They wrote hate on a glass of water, and then they wrote love on a different glass of water, and they put it under a microscope. The hate was jagged edges. It completely changed the molecular, like the way it is. The love one was very smooth and very lovely. Words are so important. The intention behind words are so important. I could say, fuck you, and it's great. I can say, I love you, and that's bad. People get hung up on the fucking words. And fuck means fornication under consent of the king. It means you couldn't have a baby unless the king said so. Shit means store high in transit because boats were blowing up because gases were collecting. You know what I mean? And it's like, who are the word police? Oh, and I'm going to say this real quick. If you have a penis or a dick, you don't have a vote in abortion, okay? Period. Period. It's true. Come on now. It's not political. I apologize, but come on.
Nick, tell our family and friends out there where they could find you on social media.
I am let's see here. Nicholas Brendon across the board on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. NickyBrendon.com is my website where shit happens. I don't know. This is Sarah's part now. Let's see here. I do a bunch of live events on Facebook, and I have supporters on Facebook, about 200 now, where it's like $9.99 a month, and I can be more myself. You know, I can allow my being on the spectrum to not be a problem. You know, but I'll do a lot of free live Facebooks where I'll watch episodes on Facebook as well, and just because it's like, I'm having a problem with some like convention people right now that are trying to make money in this time. You know what I mean? So I'm really trying to like, I cut all like my prices are in half or like 80% off. And I want to do as many free things as I possibly can just because I think it's important. You know, absolutely. I think it's important. I do phone calls and video calls to fans and stuff where I talk. Usually it's about an hour and a half is how much time I give them. Because I have a great time, but also too, it's like I just want to know how they're doing, and I want to make someone feel better. You know what I mean? And I do, and it makes me feel better. Well, so I'm actually doing it. It's selfish. It's not altruistic. It's selfish. When I make someone feel better, I feel better. It's selfish.
No, it is, because you don't have to make somebody else feel better for you to feel better. I'm sure there's ways you could service yourself.
Masturbate. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Nicholas,
make mayonnaise.
Nicholas, thank you so very, very much.
By the way, was my male stripper's name.
There you go.
Mayonnaise. And then it went to Sinoman, Sinoman.
There was actually one question here that a Brandon Brooks wrote, and I wanted to... Redwood is a solid indie vampire flick you did, Nick. Showed it at the film festival in Philly I ran a couple of years back. He dug it. So
It's funny. I was actually nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that movie at some film festival in the UK. I did not win. I found out after they had the award show.
Damn them. Well, thank
They
you for
didn't want me
joining.
there.
Thank you for joining us from the world's largest chimney tonight, Nicholas. And
because of the brick.
But yeah, somebody asked you if you were in a chimney. They literally
brick. Yes, guys. I'm Santa Claus. This is what it looks like inside of your chimney. Only this one's clean.
And you're flickering.
And I am flickering too, but that's because I'm on fire.
And we have a Christmas horror movie coming out. No?
It's true. Yes, very, very. I've got two actually. This is weird. I've got two Christmas horror movies coming out, which about time they started adding blood and horror to Christmas.
Yes, that's exactly what Christmas needed.
This is great. Thank you. Let's do it again.
Yes.
Give me notes and stuff, and we'll circle back and put a pin in it.
Nicholas, my dear friend, I hope
so great to see you. It's been way too long.
And I will talk to you soon. And
I'm going to give you a call tomorrow when we'll catch up too.
It sounds awesome, brother.
I'm going to call you on the phone.
And I'll be looking forward to it.
And then
ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for watching and having Nicholas on. We're not signing off. I just
no, you stay. I'm going. Joe, you stay.
Well, I'll stay also, but
no. I have like the everything just went off in my house because there's like a tornado watch.
Oh, you got one of those?
I got
my first one of those.
I got all distracted for a moment. So
it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't. Being from LA, we don't have tornadoes. I had a dream once about being in a tornado, and it was terrifying. The sounds and stuff. I don't want to ever be in a tornado.
Yes, I'm not a big fan of like dying, so I'm going to
try to take all of my plants inside, and I've got about 50 of them out here.
Now, you're in Louisville tonight?
I'm going to play Georgetown, Indiana. So about 7 miles outside of Louisville.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so it's lovely. It's picturesque. There's a little creek that runs by the property, and I don't have COVID. So
next time you're in Northeast Pennsylvania, give me a holler. We'll go out to dinner. And
yeah.
George was saying,
what is Northeast? What is that? What area? Like what town is that?
The closest one would probably be Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Okay. I'm never gonna be there.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Hold on, honey. Stop. Where are we? Pennsylvania? Are we in Northeast? Because I got called Dave. I just don't. I don't know east to west, north.
Or New York City.
Now we're talking.
Right.
I'm not going there for a while either. I just.
Okay.
Good to see you, buddy. Joe,
I love
nice
you, pal.
to meet you.
Be safe and be well, and I will talk to you soon.
Take care,
everybody. The legendary Nicholas Brendon.
Legendary.
That was freaking awesome.
Bye, y'all.
Guy. Thanks.
Good night,
Take care. Bye.
He's so freaking full of energy. I love that guy.
I know.
And if I said something after he left pre-show, it was more like a holy crap.
Oh. Dude, you're turning into literally an apple. Relax. You're like flaming red. Everything's okay. Namaste. Much better. He's a pistol, isn't he?
How freaking cool is he?
I think he's awesome. I mean, that's why I've been dying to have Nikki on the show, and he's an incredibly talented guy. He's done some incredibly cool stuff, and he's just an all-around awesome cat.
Definitely full of energy.
Yes, and he actually is very kind and sweet and sincere, and just a great guy.
Are you talking to me, Lance?
I think he is. I don't know, Joe.
You didn't finish your intro with your stuff, so would you like to?
What was my intro with my stuff?
Did you finish your intro with your toys and your?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I just had some extra stuff here, in case anything happened.
There were delays?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a professional. I'm one of those guys who rubs his earphones down the back.
Mine are right up front.
You know what's funny? I was looking all day, literally for like an hour and a half for my glasses, right? I was really wigging out because I couldn't find them anywhere. And they were right here.
Oh, okay.
Right there. And I'm like I'm picking up heavy things, like my glasses mysteriously wound up under like a 300-pound box that has been sitting there for like 6 years. Fun show tonight.
On my head, but anyway.
Oh wait! Before we wrap this,
hey, it's your show, man. You wrap it whenever you want.
Oh no! I'm a professional. I don't want to keep you up all night with my silliness. An announcement about next week's show. My guest next week, and this is all I'm going to say. My guest next week is a 2-time Emmy Award winner and a co-star of one of the biggest superhero movies of all time. And that's all I'm going to say. Is that okay with you, Joe?
Nope.
Okay. So then I won't have a show next week.
Somebody wants to chime in.
Okay. Tiny Tim. Who is she calling Tiny Tim? Me?
No, you're your guest for next week.
Tiny Tim. Okay. Dead air is sexy. You know.
Do we have dead air?
That's what she just said.
Oh. Damn.
I hope, Tiff, that you were actually watching Nicholas Brendon on before, because it was actually very funny. And I'm not going to tell you why. You'll have to go back and watch it yourself.
Yeah, she was mentioned in a movie with him. Absolutely.
Yes, he spoke at great length about. Thank you, Mr. I'm glad a few people are nice enough to say nice things. Why don't you just come on here and make fun of my hair, Tiff? That would. You know what's horrifying? She's looking to move up close by here, and I think it's literally just to be abusive to me. Thank you for bringing Nikki. Nikki was awesome, and Nikki's a dear friend of mine, and Nikki and I go back a long time, and I will be. Nikki's a friend who can come on whenever he likes. I have. She's rattling. You know, I have to learn to not let Miss Shepis rattle my cage, but sometimes she does. Where did she get that authentic George Romero emoji?
Where are you looking at?
Right there, that bald guy. The bald yellow guy.
The jaundicey looking fella.
Yes, next week again, I want to see Nikki and Zach Galligan together. Okay. I'm sure we could put that on pay-per-view. That'd be kind of funny.
Zach had a movie that dropped.
I actually have Chad Michael Murray coming on in the next couple of weeks. If you want to have him join Nikki and Zach, we could do that. Zach just had a movie drop, you said?
Yeah, it's a horror anthology kind of thing that he had a part in.
Oh, sweet. So again, everybody, next week, 2-time Emmy Award winner and one of the co-stars of what many consider the biggest superhero movie of all time. So
I have no idea who that is.
I know. I know you like comic book stuff, so I got you somebody I think you'll be pretty excited about.
And it's actually going to be the season finale of Romero Pictures Indie Brigade, and we usually go on a leave of absence, but I tend to think that you and I will do.
Yeah, we have to communicate these things a little better because I have some guests lined up.
Well,
but
we'll still do the show. It's all good.
Okay. I just don't want to. I never know when we're going on things, and I actually, oddly enough, book my guests weeks in advance. So,
what are you implying?
I'm not implying anything.
Or insinuating.
I'm just letting you know that if we need to go off after next week, that's fine.
No, we're good.
All right. In closing, you don't have to just zoom in on me, Joe. This is fine. You're going to do it anyway. All right. Look, I wrote my closing, so I didn't forget it because I always forget it. Again, I want to thank everybody who watched tonight. I want to thank my wonderful guest, Mr. Nicholas Brendon, who's not only a great actor, but a good fella and just a dear friend, and does a lot of really wonderful things for his community now. And on that note, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Good night, everybody, and I'll see you next Friday.